The murder of a man in Buncrana. Gardaí have issued a renewed appeal for information in connection with the killing of 23-year-old Andrew Allen. Jade McClafferty reports.
Andrew Allen was murdered by a group of individuals in his home on the night of February 9th, 2012. He was shot dead in front of his partner at their property in Links View, Buncrana. Investigating Gardaí believe that a number of people were involved in the murder, destruction of evidence and subsequently sheltering the killers involved. A number of people have been arrested and questioned in connection with the case, but Gardaí believe that there are still people in both Buncrana and Derry City who have information that may assist in bringing those responsible to justice. They are appealing to anyone with information, however insignificant it may seem, to contact them.
A former Fianna Fáil minister says Bertie Ahern is hugely popular and a huge asset to the party. The former Taoiseach is back in Fianna Fáil after resigning in 2012. At the time, Micheál Martin was making moves to expel him over the findings of the Mahon Tribunal. Former Minister Conor Lenihan says Bertie Ahern's return will be a huge asset to the party.
He has supreme skills of organisation and in terms of political skills that he has at his fingertips, if you like. He's a brilliant man to organise elections, to reorganise party structures, to keep in touch with a party base.
A Donegal deputy says Rockall has cost Irish fishermen millions. Deputy Podger McLaughlin has slammed both the British and Irish governments over their failure to reinstate access to the 12-mile limit around Rockall. It's been 2 years since the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement came into effect, yet he says the blockade by the British authorities continues.
After the EU and UK trade agreement, the British government unilaterally and outrageously blocked Irish fishermen from accessing their traditional fishing grounds in the 12-mile limit around Rockall. It's now 2 years since this has happened. I've repeatedly called on the Minister for the Marine, Charlie McConlogue, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Simon Coveney, and now Micheál Martin, to get this sorted out. There's no basis in international law. It's absolutely outrageous, and it's costing about $7 million every year to our fishermen.
Weather now mostly dry today with light winds. There will be sunny spells and the chance of an isolated shower with highest temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
At Ulster Bank, our team is continuing to close current and deposit accounts, along with some of our branches. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. All personal and business account deadlines are fast approaching. You must take urgent action. If you are still relying on your bank account and in need of more support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. 3 minutes past 9. It's Thursday, the 9th of February 2023. And thank you so much for choosing the 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio, your #1 local radio station. And it's good to have you on board, as I say. And we have lots coming up in the show. I say it every day, and do I ever lie? I don't think so. It's always really busy, but we always have plenty of space for anything that you want to talk about, any comments that you wish to make. How do you do so? Well, I'll let you know. WhatsApps and texts 086 60 25000, 086 60 25000. Donna Marie is answering your phone calls today on 07491 25000. Don't forget, we also love to hear from our diaspora or people listening from outside the Republic. 00353, drop the O, you know yourself. And if you want to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. And we also have the option for you to watch, which is great, particularly for those who are hard of hearing, because we've got captions, which is the reason why I started it in the first place. You can watch us live on Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube, on your smart TV, on your Fire Stick. Just open up the app, search Highland Radio, like and subscribe, by the way, and hit the bell. I sound like a YouTuber, don't I? And on Facebook too, as I say, on the smart TV. A lot of these apps we don't use, you know. You've bought a nice new TV. It's got Facebook Watch on it. It's got YouTube on it, and you can watch, the likes of this show up on your big screen. Same apps are on your Fire Stick as well. Lots of you out there have Fire Sticks for very honest reasons, I'm 100% sure. But don't forget, you can also access on those platforms as well. It's just more ways for us all to connect and be together and sort stuff out together, isn't it? Right, okay, let's look at the papers. It's a Thursday morning, so there's plenty of them. We'll start with the Derry People Donegal News. A devastated mother who lost her daughter in the Creasla explosion called TG Cahir begging and pleading for a documentary on the tragedy to be delayed. Donna Harper lost her daughter Leona, 14, in the explosion at the service station which killed 10 people on October 7. The documentary was broadcast last night at 9:30pm. A lot of people, I think, thought it was broadcast at 9 and then saw another show was on and thought it had been deferred. But no, they went ahead with it. TG Cahir said the documentary focuses on the rescue effort carried out by the ordinary people of Creasla in the immediate aftermath of the tragedy. However, a number of the victims' families expressed their fear and frustration over the programme, which they were not consulted about or included in. And therein lies the biggest issue for me, I think, in that, it's their tragedy, their loss primarily, and they should have been consulted. The argument, we didn't want to encroach on their grief by engaging with them, cop out. They should have spoken to them. The programme itself, I mean, obviously, I think we're all familiar with a lot of the contributors who I feel very, very sorry for, in that they kind of found themselves in the middle of it. We did hear of their bravery, what they've been through, how they cope going forward. They are heroes, and as I say, thinking on them last night and this morning, because they've kind of been put in the middle of it there a little bit, because I think people thought it was going to be a different type of thing or it was going to be broadcast later. And as I say, there's a lot of people would have felt raw with that being broadcast last night. Personally, we took the decision, I took the decision within minutes of hearing of this tragedy not to publish any of the pictures of the explosion as I viewed it, and we viewed it then as a team. This was people's final resting place, effectively, not final resting place, but where lives were lost, and we just decided we're never going to show that stuff here on Highland Radio, and that was a decision we made. There was new images last night that I hadn't seen before, that I imagine was very difficult for people to see. The drone footage and stuff like that there. Maybe it's because we're local. Maybe we feel it more. It just, personally, I thought I wasn't comfortable with it anyway, but it doesn't matter what I think. And I don't know. I mean, I suppose there was some information that maybe people might be hearing for the first time that maybe an inquest might have been a better place for it. I don't know. As I say, it's not for me to say. It's down to the families and the local community. And when I say the local community too, of course, there are people that lost their lives and were injured and damaged by it that aren't immediately from Creasla, and we should never, ever forget all of the 10 people that very sadly lost their lives in that explosion. If you want to have a comment on it, because I mean it's what a lot of people were talking about, get them into us. We'll see what we do with it in terms of the rest of the morning. WhatsApp or text 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. The Tyrconnell Tribune this morning tells us that Ukraine refugee numbers in Donegal at the end of January are estimated at 4,513, with numbers stabilising over the winter months. This position is expected to change going into spring, when fighting on the battlefront's expected to increase. The Donegal electoral area has the largest number of refugees in the county, with 1,227. So that's the likes of Killybegs, Bundoran, Rossnala, and what have you. The Letterkenny area is providing accommodation for 588 at 12 locations. Inishowen has 658 refugees at 37 locations. The largest number are in Ballyliffin. The Finn Valley has 259 based mainly in Ballybofey and Stranorlar. And finally, Glentees, well, it's not finally either, is it? 930. And in the Milford electoral area, numbers are reported in the region of 645. On to the Democrat today. A leading nursing home in Donegal has revised its practices following the death of an elderly patient who was given almost 10 times her prescribed medication on 2 occasions. Strict new measures have been implemented for staff at Larissa Lodge Nursing Home in Letterkenny following the death of Marie Glacken in 2020. In 26 hours Prior to her death, Ms. Glacken was administered 10 milligrams of Oxynome, having been prescribed doses of 1 to 2 milligrams of the drug. The 97-year-old of Main Street, Dunloe, passed away on May 14th, 2020, and more coverage inside the paper today. The Derry News this morning tells us that it understands the controversial one-way traffic system around the Diamond area of the city is to be scrapped. Councillors are expected to take the decision at Wednesday's meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council's Environment and Regeneration Committee. The paper obviously went to press just before that decision was taken. The introduction of temporary one-way traffic management or arrangements along Ferry Quay Street and Upper Carlisle Road were designed with the objective of creating extended pedestrian space on Ferry Quay Street and an associated reduction of vehicle traffic flow along the narrow street. But the arrangement was heavily criticised at the time. Let us go to the Irish Times, and Bertie's back. The return, but this has been on the cards, obviously, because there has been sort of a, what you might call it, particularly on the national airwaves and RTE, there has been a rehabilitation of his character for those who might feel that it does need rehabilitating. For others, he remains and always will be incredibly, incredibly popular. But he's back in the Fianna Fáil party. The return of former Taoiseach Bertie Ahern to the Fianna Fáil fold is appropriate given the passing of time and the forthcoming 25th anniversary of the Belfast Agreement, Taoiseach Micheál Martin has said. Mr Ahern has rejoined his local party organisation in Dublin Central just over a decade after he quit Fianna Fáil in the wake of the findings of the Mahon Tribunal. The move will ramp up speculation that he will seek to run for the presidency in 2025. Mr Martin said nothing like that has been discussed. That is just speculation. He just wanted to rejoin his local common, and it's as basic as that, according to Micheál Martin. What do you think? And listen, I want to hear too from Fianna Fáil party members as well. Do you believe that this is the right move at the right time? Has enough time passed with his contribution to the peace process? Is it right that he's a member of the party come 2020? What is the date of the anniversary? The 25th anniversary is coming up shortly. I suppose if any of us do wrong or what have you, there has to be an opportunity for rehabilitation, doesn't there? What do you think? I think views on that might be quite polarised, but get them into us and we'll try and read out a balance of them for you. It was inevitable anyway, and I was asking Minister Charlie McConalogue not so long ago, and I can't recall exactly what he said in the interview, but I think he did recognise his important role in the peace process and what have you. I can't remember his exact answer. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, the end of Our Father in the Lord's Prayer. A gender-neutral God and the end of Our Father prayer could be a step too far for parishioners, some priests fear. The Church of England, now this is the Church of England, is to explore the use of gender-neutral terms which could see the Lord's Prayer opening line, Our Father, become Our Love who art in heaven. So instead of Our Father who art in heaven, it would be Our Love who art in heaven. Irish priests told the Irish Daily Mail that while they broadly welcome the introduction of more gender-inclusive language in the liturgy at Mass, adapting prayers which date back more than 2,000 years could provoke a backlash. Dublin priest Father Duffy cautioned that change would not be easy, saying some prayers are deeply ingrained in tradition going back 2,000 years. I don't know how they would approach Our Father. Father Willie Cummings, parish priest in County Clare, said that he believes God should remain male as per the Bible. I won't support any change there, he said. However, Miss Father Cummins said the church should be more inclusive of women in its language. Only today I changed a gospel reading when it said that man was made in God's image. He said I changed it to we are made in God's image. As I say, these are discussions ongoing from the Church of England. I was going to say mess around, and I don't mean that because it sounds disrespectful, but they change texts or what is said at Mass reasonably regularly, don't they? I'm not a big fan of that in any case. I just don't see what problem are they fixing. Who's offended? Is anyone offended that a prayer starts Our Father? To whom are they? To whom are they trying to appease, if anyone? Maybe it's got nothing to do with genders or what have you. But I don't see how changing Our Father to Our Love is gender inclusive. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just getting older. I am old. Maybe I'm getting older. I don't understand it. I don't even know what the motivation is, so I can't sort of go, oh, it's a disgrace because they're doing this because of. I mean, the paper said it's because it's more inclusive language, but Then again, some people in religion don't see God as male or female. That's another view. It's very important as to why the decision is being taken. I'm not quite sure it's specifically the reason that's outlined in the paper there. I'll do more research on that. We've talked about this before, and it was always... this was a bugbearer of mine. I wasn't one of the complainers, but I've said on this show a couple of times about how some of the electricity providers, one which I was with, claimed that their electricity was all green, right? It was all green energy, right? But at the same time, it's going up and down with the fluctuations in oil and gas, and we know why that is. But I just didn't like the claim because it's misleading, because you think you're doing something really, really good, but in truth, you're not. They're buying credits at best. But anyway, they can't do it any longer. Electricity firms are in the hot water. With false 100% green claim. Electricity companies are misleading hundreds of thousands of you out there by claiming to supply 100% renewable power, an advertising watchdog investigation has found. The Advertising Standards Authority of Ireland says the claim, investigated in adverts by Energia but used industry-wide, must be dropped from marketing materials, because the reality is 30 to 40% of our fuel is... What else could be scrapped? This... unlimited data, get rid of that, because it's BS. It's not unlimited data. There's fair usage and caps. That's another thing. Why say that? There's loads of them out there. I can't think of them off the top of my head. But anyway, they're not allowed to say it any longer, because 30 to 40% of the country's electrical needs are generated from wind farms and solar panels. So then how really, in reality and in all fairness, could you say you're providing 100% green electricity when you're sucking it off the same grid? What else annoys you? 086 60 25,000. The Irish Farmers Journal this morning. Weanlings continue to soar in price, with records broken in March nationwide over the last 7 days. A combination of live exporters, factory-aligned feedlots and grass buyers are driving the trade, with some exceptional prices being paid for top-quality weanlings. Okay, so that's good. I hope that's benefiting the people that are rearing them. I'm not a farmer, of course, but I just hope that's good news for the farming community. We all have concerns. Everyone has concerns, I think, and we all chat about what's wrong in this country, what could be right. But there's something very Irish about us in that we are welcoming, that we can see the woods for the trees, that we can separate out concerns from, race or religion or sexual orientation or whatever it might be. We have, and I've experienced this myself, as I've said it in the programme before, we've gone to other countries, honestly gone there to try and better ourselves, and we've faced racism. People go straight to the posters from the 60s and 70s, but people have experienced it individually, even being called Mick or Paddy, or certain jokes being said in front of you, or whatever it is. And unfortunately, I just hope that we're not sort of becoming the people that do that we can have issues with certain things, like maybe the numbers of people coming into this country, the pressure on housing, other people not able to get housing, that we can talk about that, but not then turn into, some of us at least, turn into the type of people that would then be racist towards others, as we've experienced that so much ourselves. But some stories are emerging, and I don't want to over-amplify them, but I just want to reference them. It's in the Irish Daily Mirror today. Nurses are facing stab threats, being spat at, kicked and verbally abused at work, a traumatised health worker told a Dáil committee yesterday. Sylvia Chambers was speaking on behalf of the Irish Nurses and Midwives organisation, who were in Leinster House to talk about abuse being suffered by the members in the State Health Board. The INMO said at least 10 nurses a day are being assaulted in our hospitals, and there's also some then reference to people who are working in the health service then being grouped in with other people that have come here and facing abuse. The Irish Daily Star, and you wonder where this is going to go. Vladimir Zelensky, he's on a tour of Europe. He wants more jets, and he wants jets in Ukraine. And I think there's a general acceptance that if Europe does provide the jets, if America provides the jets, that this is an escalation of the situation. Russia say that that's the case, and I think it's been generally accepted that that is the case here. That being said, without air support after this new Russian offensive, it will be like sending young Ukrainian men, primarily like lambs to the slaughter on the front line. So that's why he's making the argument for these planes, but you just really would be concerned exactly where this is going. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky yesterday told the UK Parliament, "I appeal to you in the world with simple and yet most important words. Combat aircraft for Ukraine, wings for freedom." British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has so far only said that he will ask Defence Secretary Ben Wallace to investigate what jets the UK could potentially hand over. But in a press conference with Zelensky, insisted nothing is off the table. Now, the truth is though, particularly the high-speed jets, they cost 100 million and it requires between 3 and 10 years training to fly them. So are they going to give them those jets worth all that money and allow people who aren't trained to fly them? It wouldn't make a great deal of sense to me, but I don't know what they're going to do there. I just really worry where it's going and the incredible loss of life that's being experienced over there. And finally, Ryan Tubridy insists the Late Late Show should continue hosting Eurosong. Eurovision experts lashed the atrocious sound and peanut butter giveaway as Wild Youth bagged the slot. One said, "We were dying with embarrassment," but Tubbs said, "Every part of the country tunes in." I didn't think it was that bad. There's certain things that I kind of let flow over me. The presentation style, that backroom cringe stuff. Maybe I didn't mind it. I kind of enjoyed the programme, but maybe it's time we do something a little bit different. 21 minutes past 9. Good morning to you. It's the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. Any views on what we've just been reading? 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. If you've never texted a show before, give us a text. Put the number in your phone. Your view is the same as everybody else's. Don't be turning to that person to your right and saying, "Do you know blah blah?" Tell us and tell the entire Northwest. More and more of you listening all the time to the show too. I'm guessing, I don't know, so I can't say anything, but maybe I'll be able to say something tomorrow. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I haven't seen anything, but it's great if that is the case. We'll see. All right then, let's take a break. Back with more shortly.
Wet n Wild is celebrating 20 years in business with a massive 20% off absolutely every product in store in February. Choose any top outdoor brand product in store and we will deduct 20% of all prices at the till. Buy premium quality outdoor clothing, footwear and equipment today and save 20%.
You can really share the love with great savings this Valentine's at Dunnes Stores, with 20% off wine and champagne for a romantic toast. And half price on selected boxes of chocolates like Cadbury Milk Tray and Nestle Black Magic. The perfect gift for that special someone. Then save at the till with our 5 off 25 grocery vouchers. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
Weanling trade is on fire. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
As weaning prices keep climbing, we look at what's driving demand. Sheep farmers await Competition Authority investigation on Kildare chilling sale. As lambing season kicks off, our special focus advises on how to keep a lid on costs. New TAM scheme. Find out what new equipment and grant rates you can apply for. Factories pushing beef farmers to cut emissions by 30%. And we examine how farm partnerships can break down.
Only inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal.
Sheridan Security, now introducing Zero Wire Smart Alarm Systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
All right, I want to mention the request Lee referenced just as he handed over earlier on today, and it's happy wedding anniversary to Kay and Ignatius McGlinchey in Raphoe. Hope you have a wonderful day, Kay and Ignatius, and that's coming in from all your family and all of us here too. Caller says it's great to see Bertie Hearn rejoining the party. He did a lot of good things, while some bad. Nobody is perfect. Yeah. I mean, that is true. Nobody is perfect. And, you know, it's a little bit like football. You know, Manchester United and Liverpool supporters, you're quick to highlight mistakes they've made or to wallow in joy at their downfalls as well. There's obviously, people have different political views. What do you think generally? Greg, I didn't watch the TG Cahir programme out of respect for the grieving families in Creasla who wished it to be deferred 4 months. 4 months is such a short time since the tragedy with the families waiting for answers, and I wasn't going to watch it either, but I was asked to watch it by a handful of people directly affected, so I did, out of respect to them. Greg, it's all to please transgender. It's not for other families anymore. We know there are two genders, a male and a female. No other might think I'm talking nonsense, but the truth always hurts. Everyone has their own truth, though, don't they? And there are people listening that their truth is different. Quite interesting to hear former President Donald Trump and future president, he would hope, making some very strong statements as to what would happen under his stewardship if he were re-elected. Another caller says, if the energy suppliers say they are giving they're giving large green energy, why is it not cheaper than oil or gas generators? The wind did not go up in price due to the Ukraine war. It's because we have this crazy system where wind energy providers were guaranteed a rate, and it was linked to the. You couldn't make it up, could you? It was linked to the price of electricity generated with fossil fuels and what have you. So even though they were generating a clean energy, they were guaranteed the same rate as other energy generators, which took out the financial incentive for the consumer. But that was a decision that someone made and thought it was a good idea. Just want to let motorists know there's an oil spill on the Ballybofey to Letterkenny Road. A driver says fellow drivers should be careful. Let's stay on the roads and safety on the roads and welcome onto the programme PJ. Hiya, PJ.
Good morning, Greg.
Right,
how are you getting on?
I'm doing good. I'm good. Nice to speak to you, PJ. Right, tell us your concerns when you're out driving.
Mike, it's not really a concern. I just want to bring attention to the caretaker of the Donegal League football pitch about the floodlights on the AstroTurf. Because as you're coming in from Elliston to the football pitch, once you come around the corner at where Sean Haggerty has his lorries, you get this bright light and you think there's a car coming that hasn't dipped. And as you move closer to the football pitch, it actually gets brighter. And the whole road, there's that much brightness that the road actually is in darkness, which is a contradiction, but it seems to be all black spots.
Yeah, so it's the same as someone with high-powered lights is approaching you with the headlights on. It's hard to see anything else but those lights. Is it that kind of a...
That's the same. That's the situation. And just in case there will be an accident, and probably the people that were involved in this didn't realise this, and it hasn't been brought to their attention. I'm not complaining about the lights being on or anything. It's just that the lights need to be readjusted, that they're tilted down the way and not facing out against oncoming traffic. And the lights that seem to affect them that are the worst are actually the lights that are on the pitch, the playing pitch side of the AstroTurf. You know the pitch, the Donegal League pitch is behind the AstroTurf. Mm-hmm. Well, it's those set of lights there that are the ones that are causing the problem. Now, I don't know if anybody else has found this or not, but I have driven that road a couple of times in the dark now, and I just find it nearly impossible. And the sad thing is that I think if somebody was even walking and was wearing high-vis clothing, I don't think you would actually see them because of the lights and the black spots that the lights produce.
Yep. Okay. Well, listen, let's put it out there and say, I know you're not being critical of the league or any individual. You're just saying, are you aware of this? And if you're not, it's something maybe you need to have a look at. We'll throw it out there, PJ, and see if anyone else has noticed this. I know you're focused solely on safety, and that's why you've rang us. So we'll see what others say, PJ.
Yeah. I have no problem with the football pitch or the lights or anything.
Clear.
It's just that they just need to be adjusted, tilted down a little bit. That the glare isn't coming. Like they're so strong that they're actually stronger, I think, than actually driving into another car towards another car that has its full headlights on. You know.
Right, okay. So you're saying they need to put the dips on the pitch. Okay, I get you. PJ, listen.
Well, they just need to tilt it down a bit,
I get you. Right, okay. Listen, leave it with us. We'll see what others say. Thanks, PJ. Take care and safe out on the roads. 08660 25,000 is the WhatsApp or text number. Greg, I remember when they changed the responses at Mass. Nobody will get this. Yeah, indeed. And there's a few occasionals who go now and again that probably didn't know the changes were there and found themselves caught out. Not that I know anyone that would fall into that category. Greg, I seen last night a man cutting peat's been fined €7,700, but can go to the shop and buy peat wrapped in plastic from Germany. It makes no sense. Indeed, on the face of it, it doesn't seem to make much sense. Right. Okay, we're going to have our next guest on the programme very shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in the community. Keeping up to date with your recommended vaccines will make sure you have the best possible protection from serious illness. And everyone aged 18 to 49 can now get a second COVID-19 booster vaccine from a HSC vaccination centre or a participating GP or pharmacy. See what vaccines are recommended for you on hsc.ie or call our team in HSC Live on 1800 700 700 from the HSC.
At Ulster Bank, our team is continuing to close current and deposit accounts, along with some of our branches. At this time, if your notice period and your deadline has passed, your account is now queued for closure. All personal and business account deadlines are fast approaching. You must take urgent action. If you are still relying on your bank account and in need of more support, please contact us immediately. Visit ulsterbank.ie, your local branch, or call 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Keep your car or van running smoothly with a service at Hegarty's Ford in Letterkenny. Not only will it minimise the risk of a major repair expense, but it will be logged in your vehicle's service handbook and help its resale value. Hegarty's also offer everything from new and pre-owned car sales to parts and body repairs in their approved body shop. Book a service online this month and save €30 when you use the code FORD30. You're always in good hands at Hegarty's Ford, Carnamugga, Letterkenny. See hegartys.com.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme, and we are going to talk about, and maybe it's not going to be for everyone for the next 5 or 10 minutes, so just be aware. We're going to be talking about Shag Week in Letterkenny. Barry Breslin, Welfare Equality Officer with the Students' Union at the ATU Letterkenny, joins us. Good morning to you, Barry.
Good morning to you, Greg.
Thanks for calling in. And Aina McDermott, Education Communications Officer with the Students' Union at the same facility. How are you getting on? Thanks for joining us.
The very best, Greg. Thank you for having us.
What's the whole function of Shag Week then?
So Shag Week is Sexual Health Awareness and Guidance Week. It's not all about shagging, as some people may think. It's a joint campaign run by the HSE and USA, and it's been one of the core campaigns of ATU Students' Union, formerly LYAT, for as long as I can remember anyways. It focuses on sexual health, empowerment, consent, contraception, unplanned pregnancies, the effect of pornography on young people. And it's starting next week on February 13th. We're running events on and off campus just to get the students informed, get talking about sexual health and everything in that realm.
So on the face of it, Aina, Shag Week, obviously people think it's all about promoting promiscuity or however people might want to describe it, but really what it's about is I presume recognising that a lot of it goes on anyway, but to make sure that people, do it right, that they protect themselves, that they make sure the other party is consenting, that they avoid illness.
Yes,
it's not quite as exciting as the word Shags Weeks, but that's what it's about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and also the great services provided by for students on campus in terms of contraception. So recently, you can now get your coil done, both types of coil, your copper coil. And you can get your patch. Every single contraceptive measure is now available to students and is now free for anyone under 25. And also, Barry can talk about some of the events that we're having in terms of educational talks, just to enlighten students on consent and other things.
Yeah, Barry, so it kicks off on Monday.
Yes, so on Monday, as Anna was talking about the various types of contraception that we have available, so to try and gamify some of these things, as sometimes just information stand, not as appealing as it sounds, even though you may have sweets and freebies and like that to give away. So what I'm trying to do is gamify it, so like a little tick the box. You've listed the contraceptions that are available. You have to tick off the ones you think we have. So lucky enough, some of them are like we're taking a joke with them, so people know we're having the crack. So yeah, luckily, and then by the end, you will come away with a sheet with a list of all information I have available and on what concepts we have.
So it's kind of a fun way approach to educate, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's what you got to do, because unfortunately, when you're just putting up some information, it's not all that appealing. And then we have other facilities coming in as well. We've done a Youth Services. They have a consent campaign going on.
That's
consent
on Tuesday. The focus,
on Tuesday,
isn't it?
yep, that's on the Tuesday, and then following on from that, there on our Wednesday, we are rolling out our wellness cafe, which is essentially a coffee morning that we have for students that we're doing on a monthly basis.
Just back to Tuesday, the consent thing is an important issue, and not uniquely, but I think particularly in the third level setting, there can be, it can be quite an issue there. It's very important, I think, that for everyone knows what consent is.
Oh, absolutely, because it's like a ATU Donegal's international, that in different countries consent comes in at a different age, and there's essentially a different environment and different attitude towards there. So we got to educate people on what is like around ATU Donegal and what is expected and respected on campus and simply off campus
and
as
the
well.
role of alcohol in that situation.
Absolutely.
Too, and a person's ability to consent as well.
Yes.
All the things that need a great deal of focus right across society, not just, as I say, third level. The Wellness Cafe on Wednesday is... Tell us about that. I mean, that's obviously about promoting positive mental health, I presume.
Yes, and essentially it's a safe space, or kind of a break from college life, saying you're feeling the pressure and that. We put on like free teas and coffees and that. And also we try and tie it into some form to our week themes, as we did back in Christmas. We did like a gingerbread making house competition. So essentially got people together and we give them all the tools provided, the gingerbread, the icing, and that. It actually turned out really well. So we're looking to replicate that again with just a little bit more of a sex theme, so where it might to people about the truths and false around pornography. So that's something myself and Anna was able to attend training earlier on in the academic year. We also found it very helpful. And that's how Wednesday's going to go. And then on our Thursday, we are getting Women's Aid to come up. They're doing a pop-up stand around their 2 Into You campaign, and that's all around healthy relationships. As in college, it can be your first experience with maybe getting into something serious, maybe beyond whatever your secondary school romance may have been. So that's one of the great opportunities as well. If you cannot attend, say, the pop-up stand along the main corridor, we're then getting out after for an Instagram live. So you might not even be in college that day, so we may as well feel free. If you do have any questions, just pop in and we're happy to help.
Aina, how is student life for the masses at the moment? Is it stressful? Is it more difficult? I mean, obviously, there's people are challenges in terms of funding it, and that feeds into sort of, people's general mental well-being, I think, and there's different triggers as well.
Obviously it's changed even in my few years' experience being in college, especially like with students coming out of secondary school, not having done their proper exams and just missing a lot of them, very formative years. Not properly socialising, so there's a lot of misunderstanding, and especially like when we did that, Barry mentioned the pornography training yesterday, just there a second ago, that the way people approach relationships now is so skewed, and and the things that we're hearing coming from younger and younger people is absolutely terrible. Like
that they're getting their education from.
Education, a perception's being perceived that isn't true to.
Which means, say, just to say that women might believe there's certain expectations of them, for example, and fellas might believe that they're that this is how you do it, and I mean, obviously it depends on people's sexual orientation, but just to use a basic example there, that's that's not the way to do it, is it?
No, exactly. It's like as seen on TV as such, you think it acts out. It's like, performance is something's going to be asked out in the duration and things like that. So essentially, making a more grounded education is something we'll be looking to put forward.
Caller says, Greg, can you ask the lads if they think young men will listen better to young men? I've got 2 teenage boys and want to make sure they respect girls. I mean, I think everyone has a role in it, but certainly a young lad's probably more likely to listen to a positive advice from a peer, someone that doesn't appeal, like an old fogey or a parental figure, or
well, in fairness, now it is getting better. Like, they're teaching about consent from the ages of 5 years old onwards, and there is, from what we're hearing, the RSE programs in schools are being majorly overhauled, and they are being taught about not just like your genitalia. You're taught about like relationships and how to treat people properly. And like, if I'm going to put my hand on Barry's knee here, that that there's all right. Like, and like when when that there's all right, and that there's just starting with the basics, and that there advances as you go on through school, as opposed to what me and you would have had through school is like it wasn't talked about at all.
And it's a controversial one. But reality is that. Without getting into the ins and outs of it, the only way you know that you are not being mistreated or you're not being abused is if you have some understanding of what that is. I mean, that for me is a basic. I think going back generations and decades ago, there are people who were being told that what was happening to them was okay. It was normal. There was a reason for it, that it was okay, and it was our secret. And that allowed, and we know, that allowed generations and generations of children to be abused. Hopefully now children, and I'm not saying I'm not 100% sure about all of it, but now a younger person can recognise when something bad's happening to them. You'd hope that's the case. But anyway, it's all tied in, but that's maybe quite separate from what you guys are doing. That's Monday to Thursday on campus. There's loads of stuff happening around the town, presumably as well, the Letterkenny town, that is.
Yeah, so we've a couple of nightlife events lined up. So
just a couple, then.
Just a couple. So on the Tuesday evening, we have sex toy bingo in the Orchard. So basically, instead of numbers, you have sex paraphernalia, and with the chance to win some sex paraphernalia. And then the Wednesday night, so I don't know if you're aware of the Belter quiz that takes place in the centre every week. It's very popular among students. We've linked in with them, and there's going to be a sex theme on a few of the rounds, and then there's going to be some sex related prizes ranging from box of chocolates to well, I won't finish that sentence.
Chocolates, all right, go on.
Yeah, and
wear green, single and ready to mingle.
Yeah, so then there's the traffic light party as well in Sister Sarah's, of course. So upon entry, you'll be you have the option of free stickers. So one of the stickers will be you're green, you're single, you're ready to mingle, as you said, Greg. Your orange then is is a bit complicated. Just if you're wearing the orange light, come up to me and ask me, and I'll tell you the situation. And then for the red, taken, don't come near me.
Yeah. All right, okay. We could do that all the time, maybe, not just...
I think it would stop a lot of awkward interactions, it's sort of like, is she looking at me, is she not, it's like,
it's like Black Mirror stuff, but who's to say, maybe it is it. All right, well listen, I mean, the more young, I'm not a young person anymore, I don't really know necessarily what's right or wrong, but I think if people have an education and understanding to do what they're going to do anyway safely, but also that anything that's being done is being done with the consent of both and respectfully as well. I mean, so we'll see. You're going to have a good week anyway.
Aye, we plan to.
Don't overdo it.
Oh no,
we haven't done it yet anyway.
Yeah, don't overdo it because yourself. Less is more sometimes. All right. All this information is being distributed out through the ATU, obviously, to all the various people that are studying there and what have you. So they'll be well aware of it, and just to let the general public know. Anything you want to add, lads?
Yeah. So just make sure to keep following us on our Instagram and our Facebook. You can get us by just searching simply ATU Students Union Donegal, and you can get all the information. We run loads of campaigns. It's not just about sexual health awareness. There's also biodiversity and
RAG.
EDI, and obviously RAG Week last week, where we haven't finished counting yet, but we raised thousands €1,000 for charity.
Yes.
So yeah, we do, and everything we do as far as students. If you're a student listening, please do get in touch with us with any issue you have at all.
Barry Breslin, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Welfare Officer with Students' Union at the ATU. Aina McDermott, Education Communications Officer with the Students' Union at the ATU. Both of you, thank you very much. Have a great week. Enjoy.
An absolute pleasure, Greg.
Right, take care.
Cheers.
On this week's Business Matters, I'll be joined by the Head of Regions, Property and Enterprise Development with ABA Ireland, Dennis Curran. So join me, Kieran O'Donnell, for Business Matters on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news. The Business Matters podcast is also available to download at highlandradio.com.
Business Matters, in association with ATU Donegal's Faculty of Business. If you're an owner or manager in the food production business, consider the new 1-year Level 8 Higher Diploma in Food Business and Product Innovation. It's just one 3-hour lecture weekly. Call 9186600 or email gary.mcgill@atu.ie.
There's never been a better time to go full Lidl. Let's hear it from our customers.
It's great value for money, and it's first and foremost.
Anyone that has a big family, they should be shopping in Lidl, without a doubt. They have a holiday at the end of the year.
Go on, go full Lidl today.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
Clonid, in a lifetime. The Farewell Dublin Show. Live at 3 Arena, Saturday, February 18th. Tickets from €49 are on sale now. May be subject to fees. Presented by Singular Artists.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. From March 26th, Aer Lingus will operate a daily service to London Heathrow, providing onward connections to 80+ destinations worldwide. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Right, let's look at the weather. Mostly dry today with light winds. There'll be sunny spells and the chance of an isolated shower. Temperature 7 or 8 degrees and mostly light to moderate. Occasionally fresh west to southwest winds. Right, let's welcome on to the programme our regular contributor from the Tyrconnell Tribune. I always like to wait till you've got the paper out, John, because I don't want to put you under too much pressure, you know. Paper out last night, available today. Good morning to you, John.
Don't be worrying about it, Greg.
I can't be worried about you, John. I'll be worried about you. Pressure's for tires, says you. Right, okay, we wanted your views on the return of Taoiseach Bertie Ahern. I mean, probably one of the worst kept secrets in politics. I suppose the kites were being flown for quite some time now. Does this simply fall down on political allegiance? You know, if you're Fine Gael or Sinn Féin, just to use those two, you might be on the fence a little bit of completely opposed. If you're in Fianna Fáil, you think this is the best thing ever. Is it as simple as that?
I don't think it is as simple as that. Remember that Bertie Ahern led the country on 3 occasions, 97, 2002, and again in 2007. The Flood Tribunal, the Mahon Tribunal, inquiring into certain aspects of planning irregularities in and around the Dublin area, and that was ongoing for years, and it was coming to an end. And Bertie was a man of the people. He was a big popular visitor here to Donegal, to Letterkenny. He got to know people very, very quickly, and he had a great appeal. No other party leader in Fianna Fáil could ever do what Bertie did. Exactly what he did do, we will never find out, because, you know, the Mahon Tribunal found that he had failed to truthfully account for the sources of his bank accounts. And the new Fianna Fáil leader, Micheál Martin, in 2012, moved very quickly to have him put down a motion of expulsion. And Bertie jumped before that motion was put down because it was going to be carried. But Martin said afterwards that Ahern had betrayed the trust of the party and the country. Remember, those were two very, very salient things that he said about him. where do you come back, or how could you come back from that?
But there has to be a pathway back, though, doesn't there? I mean, you know, we also, do we not have to recognise people's contributions? And if people do wrong too, the whole judicial system is built on, you know, punishment, but rehabilitation. I mean, there must come a point that, you know, if you have done wrong in the past, that you have served your time, no?
Well, if you only look at the late Neil Bleenish case, he was expelled with Charlie Haughey in 1971, and for the rest of his political career, until he died in 1995, he never managed to get back into Fianna Fáil. So you have to look at it against backgrounds of that kind. I know Haughey got back in, maybe he crawled back in. Bleeny was never going to do that. I don't have anything terribly against Bertie Ahern. I don't know where Fianna Fáil is going at the moment. I don't quite understand their modus operandi right now. I know that the Good Friday, the 25th anniversary of it, is coming up, and that's going to be quite a big thing. In fairness, Bertie Ahern played a very big role in that, as did many others, as did Gerry Adams, as did Tony Blair and Bill Clinton and John Hume, and right across the political spectrum. Let us not forget all of those, David Trimble and all of those people across Northern Ireland. But is it a time to have a big celebration for the Good Friday Agreement, given the impasse that you have an assembly that is completely out of context, and that they can't get it to sit?
And also to people's faith in it. An interesting poll recently as to how people might vote if that proposition was put to them again. It shows, you know, a very divided Northern Ireland in relation to that question. It is
Yeah,
you know, the celebration doesn't feel like the right word, does it?
But, you know, we're putting the cart before the horse here. We're doing polls without any preparation whatsoever as to what an All Ireland would look like post the conflict and in reunification. We'd have to come to terms with exactly what reunification actually means. It's going to mean some different things to all of us. But Bertie Ahern would have been played a very prominent role in that, as did Albert Reynolds. Albert Reynolds was probably the man who kick-started the peace process with Gerry Adams. But Ahern has probably other ambitions, I would imagine.
Well, let me put it to you like this. Is this really the next part of a job? In other words, like, I don't see, and this is, maybe it's telling, maybe it's not, I don't see a queue of leading Fianna Fáil representatives looking to get into the papers or maybe onto this show to welcome the fact, because maybe at this point there's still a bit of toxicity there. Some would see you trying to defend the indefensible. But of course, we have seen Bertie Ahern return to RTE. He's a very regular guest there. News Talk have him on a regular basis. Then we have this, and we talk about his contribution to the Good Friday Agreement. And then we make our way in a couple of short years to the presidency. So this is part of a process rather than the end of the journey, I wonder. Because this is being very well managed, John. You know yourself. It's being very well managed.
It's been very well managed, but I mean, can Fianna Fáil manage things given where they are in the polls? Or is this just a shot in the dark that might kickstart them and give them a 5-point increase in polls? I doubt that very much, because, you know, there are people out there waiting to talk to Bertie Ahern to try and get some rationale from him about the Shamrock economics that he probably didn't have a lot to do with, but he'll come under a lot of scrutiny about his bank accounts. That hasn't going to go away. There is a legacy there. Fianna Fáil are trying to rehabilitate Bertie as a leader rather than anything else, I think. And if the Good Friday Agreement is going to be used to do that, so be it. That is their decision. I'm not too sure how that's going to go down with the public. I know that some of the polling companies did a straw poll maybe about this time last year. They were thinking about Bertie Ahern, and there was overwhelming support to bring him back. And of course, there's overwhelming support within the party to bring him back. But is it the right thing to do, given that it was the first time that a new Fianna Fáil leader was going to put down a motion to have a former leader expelled? You can't get beyond that without some just mere passionate by and saying nothing about it. Oh, it's just something happened that, you know, like it's over and done with. But the question is, the findings of the Mahon Tribunal are not over and done with. This is a tribunal that was the most costly ever in the history of this state, costing somewhere north of maybe 300,000. And, you know, it was never going to be totally inclusive, because it went on for years and years and years, maybe 9 years, they were asked almost to investigate something that there weren't going to be clear answers to, but to have found that a former Taoiseach had failed to truthfully account for the sources of his bank accounts is a very, very big no for Bertie Ahern.
Right. So then are you saying that we don't really know which way the wind's going to blow in terms of this announcement? Do you think this could, as opposed to have a boost for Fianna Fáil in the polls, could it have the opposite effect? Could it say, right, it's back to more of the same, this confirms everything we knew? I'm only putting out some thoughts that might be out there. I'm not expressing any views myself, that this actually could be counterproductive for Fine Gael, or maybe even Fine Gael might feel that this is a bit toxic for them, though there's an awful lot going on there too.
Well, you know, those points that you raise are all very, very valid. Fianna Fáil have probably been doing a bit of research within their own party. From talking to some of the grassroots here in Donegal, they are just not in favour of it.
Right.
They're not terribly opposed to it. It's not going to encourage them to get off their seats on election day, either be at the local elections next year or at the general election, to get up off their seats and go out and vote. It's going to take a lot more than that to get a lot of the Fianna Fáil grassroots to go back.
It really is quite interesting to see a few of the old faces return, and I don't mean old in terms of age, but that we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.
Is that part of then a broader strategy then? Because, as I say, you know, there are people back involved that I perhaps didn't expect to see back involved again around the country.
Yeah, but there's a generation there going back 20 years, going back 30 years, that would have loved Bertie Ahern. They would have loved his visits to the tent at the Galway races and all these kind of things. God almighty, there was adulation when he came to Letterkenny. People running around, they were never going to wash their hands again after he kissed it. Jesus, give my head peace, would you?
There was a bit of that, all right. So come here, in the last minute we have then.
He had hugely popular appeal.
And still do, and people defended him to the hilt. And I remember people around me, it didn't matter what he did, it was leave the man alone. He's, you know, so, and I'm sure there's still some of that out there. But
you know something, Fianna Fáil was riding the crest of a wave at that time. They were riding an absolute crest of a wave. Bertie Ahern had come in, he had been Minister for Labour, he had been Minister for Finance, he could do no wrong. And I mean, he drank in Fagan's pub in Drumcondra, and she like that made him. He shook hands with Bono every so often, and he was pictured at Croke Park. The boom, the building boom, as he called it, was never going to end. Well, he ended up then just being literally just having to walk away from it. And I mean, that is politics. Can you revive a career of that kind? Is that what they want to do? Those are all the questions that we're not able to answer this morning.
Okay, we'll find out over the course of 2 years. Then finally, how do you think he would do? Now, remember, of course, there's another 2 years to work on his public persona. How do you think he will do in the presidential elections in 25?
25 is a bit away. We don't know what candidates may emerge there, what intellectuals. Bertie Ahern will always have an appeal with the grassroots of Dublin. He could do very, very well. He is a renowned Dublin man. He's a man of the people. He never rose above a station just as a true blue Drumcondra man, and that is something that would carry a lot of weight still. Maybe not with the younger generation. I would have mixed views on that, given the circumstances.
But there could be the argument that the younger generation might find a different candidate, and that maybe Bertie Ahern would get an older generation out harking back to better times to vote. So you just wouldn't know. John, listen, I wish
you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know.
I just can't see him swinging a younger crowd, and maybe that's not what they're looking for. Listen, it's always a pleasure, John. Have a lovely Thursday. Chat to you soon.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, bye-bye. Thanks very much. John McAteer there of the Tyrconnell Tribune. Let us take a break. Back with much more in the show, of course, after the news and obituary notices.
Our McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
With 231 well underway, are you calling in for a look? Sure, call in for a cup of tea or a coffee and let our sales executives show you the options available in our new Nissan range. With an unbeatable range of vehicles, there's only one garage to visit for your next purchase, and that's iMotors. Visit us in Letterkenny or Malin, or visit imotors.ie.
Donegal Denture Clinic, Letterkenny. Denture problems? We can help. At Donegal Denture Clinic, we customise, personalise and tailor your dentures to suit you. Call us for a free consultation on 91 25 25 3. Find us at Ballyrain, Letterkenny, beside Rossin College. Medical cards welcome. For all your denture needs, call Donegal Denture Clinic on 91 25 25 3. Online at donegaldentureclinic.ie.
In the final clearance at Watson Menswear Letterkenny, there's half-price shirts, polo shirts and knitwear. Also, half-price offers on top labels like Superdry and Penguin. Selected suits and footwear, also half-price. Don't miss out on big savings in the final clearance sale at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com. Also, a great selection of First Communion and Confirmation wear now in stock.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. A former Fianna Fáil minister says Bertie Ahern is hugely popular and a huge asset to the party. The former Taoiseach is back in Fianna Fáil after resigning in 2012. At the time, Micheál Martin was making moves to expel him over the findings of the Mahon Tribunal. Former Minister Conor Lenihan says Bertie Ahern's return will be a huge asset to the party.
He has supreme skills of organisation and in terms of political skills that he has at his fingertips, if you like. He's a brilliant man to organise elections, to reorganise party structures, to keep in touch with a party base.
Today marks the 11th anniversary of the murder of a man in Buncrana. Gardaí have issued a renewed appeal for information in connection with the killing of 23-year-old Andrew Allen. Jade McClafferty reports.
Andrew Allen was murdered by a group of individuals in his home on the night of February 9th, 2012. He was shot dead in front of his partner at their property in Links View, Buncrana. Investigating Gardaí believe that a number of people were involved in the murder, destruction of evidence and subsequently sheltering the killers involved. A number of people have been arrested and questioned in connection with the case, but Gardaí believe that there are still people in both Buncrana and Derry City who have information that may assist in bringing those responsible to justice. They are appealing to anyone with information, however insignificant it may seem, to contact them.
A Donegal deputy says Rockall has cost Irish fishermen millions. Deputy Podger McLaughlin has slammed both the British and Irish governments over their failure to reinstate access to the 12-mile limit around Rockall. It's been 2 years since the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement came into effect, yet he says the blockade by British authorities continues.
After the EU and UK trade agreement, the British government unilaterally and outrageously blocked Irish fishermen from accessing their traditional fishing grounds in the 12-mile limit around Rockall. It's now 2 years since this has happened. I've repeatedly called on the Minister for the Marine, Charlie McConlogue, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Simon Coveney, and now Micheál Martin, to get this sorted out. There's no basis in international law. It's absolutely outrageous, and it's costing about $7 million every year to our fishermen.
The PSNI are pledging to proactively target those in the community who contribute to the cycle of child abuse. A detective inspector was speaking after a 44-year-old Derry man pled guilty to 4 offences at Coleraine Crown Court. Eamon Falvey has more.
Yesterday at Coleraine Crown Court, Patrick Devine pled guilty to attempted sexual communication with a child and attempting to cause or incite a child to engage in sexual activity. Detective Inspector Richard Vasey from the PSNI's Child Internet Protection Team said afterwards that Mr Devine believed he was talking to 3 young girls aged 12, 13 and 14. The profiles he was talking to were actually decoys and law enforcement officers. He said there are specialist officers within the team who are dedicated to shining a light on these often hidden crimes, robustly investigating and bringing those responsible before the courts. He stressed the PSNI's aim is to protect further vulnerable young people from harm. The detective inspector said their operations would continue and he urged anyone with concerns or information to get in contact with police.
A West Donegal councillor fears the lack of investment in roads infrastructure in Gweedore could give the wrong impression to investors. Councillor Micheál Colmcgill-Osberg says the state of the roads and footpaths in the local business park is hampering efforts to attract new businesses to the area. While Donegal County Council has responsibility for part of the road leading to the business park, internally it is under the remit of Údarás na Gaeltachta. Councillor McGill-Osberg says there must be equal investment across the country.
There's fantastic work being done by Údarás na Gaeltachta if you look at the GTEC and other investments in the area. But in terms of the infrastructure, we're lacking behind, and the state and minister needs to listen that the people in the Gaeltacht and Donegal are equally as important as anybody on the East Coast or anywhere else, and it's time to invest proper monies and not pennies into our community.
Weather now mostly dry today with light winds. There will be sunny spells and the chance of an isolated shower. Highest temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, February the 9th. The death has occurred of Margaret McCafferty, Boyle, Mill Road, Dunlow, and formerly of Leibgarrow, Armore Island. Her remains are reposing at her home from 11 o'clock today and tomorrow from 11 o'clock. Funeral Mass on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock in St Cronus Church, Dunlow, with interment afterwards in Critch Island Cemetery. Mass can be viewed live on the St Cronus Church webcam. Family flowers only. The death has occurred of John Bradley, Fanad, Donegal, Warrenpoint, County Down, Belfast, County Antrim and Crawley, England. John's remains will arrive at St Mary's Church, Fanavolti, Fanad, this evening at 7 o'clock to repose overnight. Requiem Mass will be held tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. The receiving of John's remains at the church and the Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the St Mary's Fanavolti and St Columba's Mass Mount Facebook page. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to St Vincent de Paul, care of any family member or Macateer funeral directors. The death has taken place of Elizabeth Lizzie Gordon, De Mons Convoy. Her remains will repose at her late residence, De Mons Convoy, today from 2 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church Convoy, followed by burial afterwards in the family plot in Ahiarn Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desire to the Irish Cancer Society, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. House private on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Gertie McDade, née Divine, Letterkenny Road, Lifford, reposing at her home. Funeral leaving her home on Saturday morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Murlock at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Kathleen Gallagher, 144 Ardconnell, Ardra. Her remains will repose at her late residence this evening from 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning going to the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, for funeral mass at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. House private to family and close friends only on the morning of the funeral, please. The death has occurred of Pa Ward, Key Road, Dunlow. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Cronus Church, Dunlow, with interment afterwards in Mahery Cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The death has taken place of Jerry McGonigal, St Paul's Park, Greencastle. His remains are reposing at his daughter Bridget McGonigal's home at Carrow Trasna, Greencastle. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Ballybrack, Moville, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. until 11 a.m. Family flowers only. Donations if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Kyle Mooney, 7 Roseville Heights, Killybegs, County Donegal. Remains reposing at his residence today from 12 until 2 o'clock and from 6 until 9 o'clock. Removal from his home tomorrow morning at 10:30 for funeral mass at 11 o'clock in St Mary of the Visitation Church, Killybegs. Burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Mass will be streamed live on mcmmedia.tv. The death has occurred of Dita McDade, Ballymoney, Burt, County Donegal. Dita is reposing at her late residence today. Funeral leaving her late residence, Ballymoney, Burt, tomorrow morning at 10:20, going to St Angus's Church, Burt, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in Burt Cemetery. House private please on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Mary Donoghue, née Herity, 4 Court, Milford. Remains are reposing at her home. Funeral mass today at 12 noon in St Peter's Church, Milford, with burial afterwards in Milford Cemetery. Funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Family time on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, donations if desired, to Cancer Research, care of Patrick Sweeney, Funeral Directors. And the death has taken place of Ellen Dobson, née Tees, Dromore, Kilmacrennan. Ellen's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral service will take place in Trenta Presbyterian Church this afternoon at 2 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral service can be viewed on Trenta Presbyterian Church Facebook page. Family time please until 11 a.m. Family flowers only please. Donations to the Alzheimer's Society, care of any family member or Charlie McClafferty, Funeral Director. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
COVID-19 and flu viruses are circulating in the community. Keeping up to date with your recommended vaccines will make sure you have the best possible protection from serious illness. And everyone aged 18 to 49 can now get a second COVID-19 booster vaccine from a HSC vaccination centre or a participating GP or pharmacy. See what vaccines are recommended for you on hsc.ie or call our team in HSC Live on 1800 700 700 from the HSC.
Good morning. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Good morning if you are just switching on. Thanks so much for being with us today. We've a few interesting things coming up shortly. We're going to be talking about curling. Did you know there's people curling in Donegal? You're familiar with curling, aren't you? Stay with us. It's an interesting chat, hopefully, for you, coming up very shortly. Lots of you texting in. Hi, Greg. How ridiculous is this? My partner and I are Scottish. We're white, Roman Catholics, employed from Irish heritage. You would think we would never be in the category to experience racism. However, neighbours have called us planters. As a professional staff meeting, I was told openly that I knew when the boat back to Scotland is because I criticised some policy. Constant mocking of accents and stereotypes meant to be funny. It's water off a duck's back to me, but I feel sorry for people from other parts of the world facing these types of comments or worse on a daily basis. Bring back Bertie Ahern to Irish politics is an insult to the intelligence of the Irish people, in my opinion. As for certain media outlets continuously giving Ahern a second chance as if nothing has happened doesn't surprise anyone, really. Another. The Church of England can do what they want. We don't have to follow anything they do. Thank God it's about time people stood up to these people for the sake of our children. Another, was God not referred to in the Bible as our Father? Even Jesus' words in the Bible are about his Father in heaven. How can this be changed after thousands of years? Asked another. God was definitely a woman. No man could create the world in a week. Bit of humour there, no harm in that either. Not near the wise, any of them. Soon I will not be called a woman, just a woe. Am I even female or just a fee? Daftest thing I've ever heard. Or we won't be allowed to say brother and sisters, just siblings. Slurry tankers and tractors. Some roads are incapable of coping with these loads. Yeah, I've seen some of that myself. Hi, Greg. Could I just say that John McAteer is the most interesting, intelligent guest that has ever been on your programme. He explains everything very clearly and is very well informed. His coverage during elections is excellent and makes everything easily understood. Keep up the good work yourself too. Thanks for your lovely comments. takes a bit of time to take your phone out and to say something nice, so we really appreciate it. Hi, Greg. Only in Ireland where you would see Bertie Ahern getting back into government. The quicker they're wiped out, the better. Thanks. That's from one person there. It just goes to show that Fianna Fáil is out of touch with the people. It is the final nail in the coffin. I don't agree. I actually think that it might work a little bit in their favour. And let me say, I'm trying to get some others that are of a different point of view here. Greg, is there not a point where a former leader should not be forgotten? He went too far for me. Okay, but I mean, there are then those that in history always recognises people's achievements, and he has achievements as well as things that people are critical of him for. Delighted to hear the education for young people today. If only it were around sooner, says some. And back to Bertie here. When it was disclosed in the tribunal that Bertie Ahern got his... all right, I just have to check the findings of the tribunal because everyone is still around and I just have to be careful in that one. All right, just before the break and the bingo numbers, it's jackpot day. I meant to read this out earlier, so apologies to the person who messaged this in to me. I only just got around to it now, but it's a nice story. A lovely young couple who went over and above to help us out on Monday night. My husband and I got into difficulties on our way home around Glendale Manor, in the Glendale Manor area in Glencar. These people stopped to help even though they had their baby daughter with them and it was late. They made sure we got home safe. I didn't get their names, but no, they've moved to the Solomons area recently. I would really like to thank them for having two strangers so late at night. If anyone listening might know them, they might pass it on. Thanks so much, Greg. So there you have it. Fair play to that young couple. They had the baby on board as well, but they saw another couple in difficulty. They pulled over and got them home, but names weren't exchanged. And this listener, the recipient of your goodwill, wanted to contact us so that we could let you know that they really, really appreciate it. And there's lots of beautiful, positive stories like that. Share them with us, please. We really love to share that kind of information too. What's the best act of kindness that's happened to you lately? 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. So give us a call on 074 91 25,000. All right, get your bingo books out. Grab a pen. Here's the numbers.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 9th of February, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €14,400 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S9. It's game number 6. The jackpot number is 72. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 74, 77, 20, 42, 33, 72, 10, 58, 19, and finally 49. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Weanling trade is on fire. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
As weanling prices keep climbing, we look at what's driving demand. Sheep farmers await Competition Authority investigation on Kildare chilling sale. As lambing season kicks off, our special focus advises on how to keep a lid on costs. New TAMS scheme. Find out what new equipment and grant rates you can apply for. Factories pushing beef farmers to cut emissions by 30%. And we examine how farm partnerships can break down.
Only inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal.
Green Shoes at Market Square, Letterkenny are proud to announce that they're now stocking Riker footwear. Riker blend fashionable styles with incredible comfort, striking the perfect balance between fashion and practicality. All Riker shoes are made using unique anti-stress and anti-shock technology to provide the essential support and comfort the brand is known for. Try any of the new season Riker shoes now at Green Shoes, Market Square, Letterkenny.
Our wide range of 2023 Skodas are going fast. This is the sound of the Breen family getting their powerful diesel Kodiaq. And this is fully charged Fiona, driving away in her electric Skoda Enyaq. And this is the sound of someone who didn't place their order in time. Order your 2023 Skoda today, before it's too late. Skoda. Made for Ireland.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
Century Complex is now serving pizza in our new and improved Bidas Corner bar. We have a wide range of delicious pizza options available. Call us on 074 9121976 to book your table. And don't forget, Century Cinemas is located just across the car park. Check out centurycinemas.ie for movie times and tickets.
Okay, we are going to talk now about curling with a K. We've got two guests in studio, Virginia McClune from the Manor Curling Club. Virginia, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks for joining us. And you are in studio with Karen Guthrie, Donegal Sports Partnership Sports Development Officer. Karen, good morning. Morning. Great to have you with us. Right, so I didn't know there was a curling league. I didn't even know curling, you could spell it with a K. Yeah. So this is indoor curling then, is it?
Indoor curling. It's an adapted version of the ice, I suppose the Olympic sport of curling. Adapted for older adults by Age and Opportunity. It came to us probably in 2014. A lady from Rafo, Jean Wilson.
Can you move just a little bit that way because you're just off mic slightly?
Yeah.
Perfect. And so how does it? Should I ask you how it differs from the Karen, Virginia? You can't keep pointing at Karen to answer all the questions. You are going to speak, I insist. I want you to tell me what curling is, please, Virginia. Go ahead.
Well, curling is played on a wooden floor, and there's a mat, and we use stones and pushers to get stones on the mat, and it has to be 40 feet away from the mat that we push the stones.
Okay.
And each team plays four ends.
And the rules are similar to the ice curling. You're knocking the other players out. There's a bullseye. You're looking to get closer to that
exactly.
to score higher
points.
points.
On the mat, yes.
Do you replicate the brushing?
No, we don't. We use a pusher to push the stones straight onto the mat, or as possible, or as near the mat as possible.
Okay. And how long have you been playing, Karen? I keep calling you the wrong name, Virginia. Sorry.
The Manor Curling Club is playing since 2016. We set up the club, and we're playing then. And then with COVID, we lost a while, and we're back now in 2022, and we're very proud to have won the East Donegal League.
Brilliant. And how many clubs are there, or teams, do you know?
There are 7.
Wow, so
we're the last team that has joined the league. We didn't do too well the first year, but we had a demo actually from a member of the Lifford Club, and we thought, well, that sounds good to us. We would like to, to play because, I suppose it evolved from the women's group. We found that there was money available to us from Age and Opportunity, and we applied for the grant, and we decided that we would like to do curling. So then we needed some men, and naturally the men wouldn't want to join the women's group.
It's men, isn't it?
Yes. So we formed our own club then, the curling club, and we have 3 men playing. We have a total of 15 players at the moment.
Wow.
And
would this have a sort of a crossover shared interest with people who've bowled in the past, I wonder?
Yes. Well, we have 3 players who would have played bowls in the past, and we also have an All-Ireland Camogie champion, who's Anne Carroll.
Wow, okay.
Yes. And the rest of us really, probably, I only played netball at school, because I couldn't play camogie because I wore glasses and I was afraid of getting them broken.
I get you, yeah. So 10 years ago, you would never have imagined that you'd be a curling champion, presumably, would you?
No, our club, not me personally.
Do you not play?
Oh, yes, I do, of course.
I'm afraid you're a curling champion. That's just the way it works. You have to take your bit of the credit as well. But Karen, I think people are hearing this for the first time, that there's this type of and a lot of people involved as well. A lot of teams, 15 in the Manor team. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, the league will be running 10 years next year. So
tell us how it's established.
Yeah, so that was back in 2014.
You love that side of that microphone, don't you?
Well, I don't know what you want them to go this side. Jean Wilson, yeah. Jean sadly passed away. It'll be 2 years ago now in July of this year. And she'd approached the sports partnership and said, listen, this curling's great crack and, you need to set up a league. So we started with 4 teams in the east of the county and it just took legs, We've 120 members there now that play. They're starting next week and they'll play for the next 14 weeks and then they'll break for the summer and they'll go again in September and they love it. They love the crack.
And we heard from Virginia. She played a bit of netball in the past and others have, but I'm sure there's others and I think the majority later in their lives that probably are playing competitive sport for the first time.
That's right, and that was the big thing for us, was providing people with an opportunity to do something that they wouldn't have done. Even they wouldn't be provided the opportunity even in school. We've done taster sessions in badminton, and you'd be surprised that their hand-eye coordination is excellent. And if only they'd have been given the opportunity earlier in life, they'd have been brilliant at it. So they're trying something at 80 years of age that they've never tried before in their life, and that's a big one for us. Is just exposing them to new things,
And are there opportunities like the person that had the vision, whose name escapes me at the moment? Sorry,
Jean Wilson.
Jean.
Yeah.
Are there opportunities for another Jean out there to sort of say, right, this is something that might work in our area, or is this something we could try? Not just curling, but other sort of activities.
Absolutely. Our focus is participation in sport and physical activity. So there's a lot of active retirement groups out there that do different activities. They'll go on day trips and they'll do various things, but it mightn't be ultimately physical activity focused. And for us, it's trying to add that element to their schedule, I suppose, or their weekly schedule. If it's curling, great. We've obviously the 7 teams here in the east of the county, but the teams here are constantly on to us about getting, somebody maybe in the south of the county, teams in the south of the county, or even in Inishowen, and they would play off against each other then for kind of like a county title. So they're always thinking big ahead. But for us, just to have them participating or even trying it would be huge.
I mean, obviously, Virginia, it's great to be active. It's great to there's a competitive element clearly because you saw the champions, and you never lose that sort of will to win. But presumably there's a lovely social element to it as well, is there?
Absolutely, yes. And it's lovely meeting all the members of the other teams. And sure, we've great crack ourselves. We practice.
I'd be afraid if I got down, I wouldn't get back up again.
You'd need a pusher, Greg. You'd need a pusher.
I'd just end up down, my head hitting off the jack. Well, it's not a jack in curling, is it? But anyway, go ahead.
No, that's a pusher.
You love this pusher, don't you?
Yes. So the age profile of our group is from 55 to early 80s, and everyone is very active, needless to say. And we practice, as I said, once a week, and we have our competitions coming up now. But it's not just the practice; it's the social element as well.
Yeah.
When we get together, and there's great camaraderie.
And you know what? And I know there's men's sheds and all that type of stuff, which is very, very important. But I think as we get older as men, our friend circle shrinks rapidly. I think more so than it might for women. Not to compare, but I think it really does. And really quite quickly in life, men can find themselves really quite isolated. I'm not saying that women don't, but I think it's a particular issue with men. This is an opportunity, isn't it, to get them involved in something else. Maybe the men's shed or whatever else might be, that might not be for them, but this is...
Yes.
The more we have, the more we can include everyone. Isn't that right, Virginia?
And we would like to recruit more men into the team. So, there's that opportunity there for us to come and see, and watch maybe a game and have a go and see if they would like it. And we would welcome them, and we have tea always as well.
Which is hugely important.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, sharing views and having the crack after the games and so on.
And do you think, Karen, that maybe people don't realise that this is part of the role of the Donegal Sports Partnership?
Yeah, Yeah, probably people are
Not
still
curling
learning.
specifically, but
Yeah.
different things that he's come back to get.
Yeah. And our target, like we have a target from 3 years of age up to 83 years of age. It's basically a focus on getting people of all ages and all abilities active and just participating and doing anything at all. So this one for us is a lovely one because you've regular participation every week. They have something to come out for, and that happens kind of twice a year. So, and listen, we're indebted to the group leaders, the likes of Virginia. We have a Virginia and the 6 other clubs as well in Stranraer, Killygordon, Castlefin, Lifford, Rafo, Letterkenny. So, we're indebted to those people because without them it wouldn't happen. They keep the thing running.
And as you say, there's no reason why there can't be teams from all around the county.
Absolutely, the door's open. Just give the sports partnership a wee ring, and even if there's people in those areas
Of
that
course
would
there
like
is,
to take
but
part.
I mean, I'm sure you'd love to knock someone out south of the Gap as well, Virginia, wouldn't you?
Certainly would, or even in a show.
Or even in a show, exactly.
They're highly competitive.
Reopen those rivalries.
Yes.
And it's played in halls, presumably, on
Yes.
a wooden floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, community halls or church halls.
But because you carry the equipment and the mat presumably is mobile, that rolls up or rolls out, if I'm
Yes,
correct, am I?
yes.
It's really flexible way you can play it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And can I just say, we're indebted to Karen and Sports Partnership as well for assisting us, getting up and running and helping us to source the funding and so on and so forth. So it's an invaluable resource, the Sports Partnership, as is Karen.
Karen, do you think you're hiding from the camera?
It's better to have Virginia on it there.
Yes,
thinking
but if you look to your left over there.
That was getting away with it. Now Virginia's just spotted herself.
Karen's been here a few times, I think, and thinks she knows where to hide. But we've
double whammy there. Yeah.
We've noticed now
Lovely.
that people do that, so we've got another one over here. Right, okay, so how do people get involved in... I think there's going to be people listening that even in the local community of Virginia that didn't know this is happening. That there are different types of clubs like this here, and I think you'll get a few calls on it. Do you do it through the Sports Partnership? Or
It's probably the most straightforward way originally. Greg, just to ring the office 07491 16078 and just ask for any of us or reference the curling, they'll know anyway. But or in any of the areas, they probably have a fair idea. We've Virginia, obviously in Manor, but you've a lady Kathy Anderson in Stranraer. They're well-known people in the areas. People know who to kind of go to. John Butler's in Killygordon, Breach Stevenson's in Castlefin. Kathy Kelly now has taken over from Delia Palmer in Lifford, and Margaret Park in Rafo, and then Grania Hines, you'll know Grania, probably has been in a few times with you here. Grania Hines and Dorothy Toyer in Letterkenny. So
Grania good?
She's a good player.
Is she? Virginia?
Oh, not a bother in her.
Oh yes, she is indeed.
Do you have a particular rivals?
No, they're all the other 6 teams are
Equally.
rivals.
Is there not one team that's a bit of bad blood there?
No, not at all.
She'll never
Not
tell
at
you.
all. No.
We actually initially started out with kind of not trying to be too competitive and
Get
not
that.
rules, and
Yeah.
they wanted a trophy, and then every time we meet twice a year down at Century Cinemas and backstage upstairs, and we have a wee cup of tea, and we'll always thrash out the rules, and they'll be looking to add stuff in, and it gets much more technical as the time goes on.
And is curling popular around the country or beyond, I wonder?
It just depends on the local sports partnerships, really.
Yeah.
Greg, you'll find some counties, I think they might be doing it in Cavan and maybe down in Leinster a wee bit more. Scooch is another one that's kind of taken over. It's big in the men's sheds. It's a very similar premise to the curling. You're pushing a kind of sliders like shuffleboard to a target.
Nice.
And the men's sheds are keen on
Again,
that one.
another crossover kind
Another
of a
crossover,
discipline with some of the same skill sets.
Again, with a pusher, the stooping and bending
100%,
sometimes becomes a wee bit more difficult.
Well, it's a leveler, isn't it? The pusher, because it means everybody is.
That's right.
If some people have a little mobility issues, it's a level. It's as much a level playing field as you could get. So when does the Virginia Youth meet up all the time? Is it every week? Like,
yes.
Was that a cup or is that a league, or how do you format the competition?
Well, we meet every Thursday from 1:30 for practice, and then we meet Karen then to arrange the league fixtures.
I get you.
So the first of these now is on the 13th.
I was involved in a darts league years ago. I loved it. I loved the whole who we playing. The crack beforehand. That little thing that you get, even if you're not competitive, when you're competing against someone else, it kicks in. Even though you try and suppress it, it's there. You want to win. So it must be lovely. Right, okay. Now, is there a lower age bracket with something like this, Karen? I mean, I know it's all inclusive, and at the moment it's quite a broad age, 50 to 80, 55 to 80 plus.
Well, the funding's provided by Age and Opportunity is for people over 50, for active seniors, really.
Wow. So I'm right. Okay, I'm nearly qualified here.
Yeah, the thing of it is that you could play it
to us and join us.
She's always recruiting. See, she's going to do it.
Particularly, I noticed. Handsome young ones as well.
The door will be open
like
anyway. And the kettle will be on. So,
yeah, and that's it, isn't it? Really, it is. It's about getting together, having the cup of tea, and everything else. Brilliant. Okay, so if you're interested in the curling league, there are a number of teams, 7 teams in all. Get in contact with the Donegal Sports Partnership Sports Development Group. Well, the Donegal Sports Partnership, we've got the development officer with us here, Karen, and you can put people together. Anyone listening out there that thinks, right, I wonder, is this something we could do in our area? Presumably you're open to talk to them. Or any suggestions, presumably, in terms of well, I'll let you explain it, Karen. Who do you welcome to hear from in terms of new ideas or? Yeah,
any active retirement groups. Obviously, they all have a group lead in the community, or there's community centres out there that don't have active age groups kind of started already. We're also, in the process of working with Ballantrae at the minute, and Glencolmkill, just try and get active retirement groups up and running.
Great facility in Ballantrae for
fantastic
this type of
facility.
Stuff as well,
yeah, a lovely big hall, but it was probably underutilised for so long. So they've a good lead in Patricia there locally now that's trying to kind of just get the doors opened again and get people using it. So we have an Activator Poles walking programme there running at the minute, and it's really just a case of having that physical activity focus to it. And if you already have an active retirement group up and running, we can support you to buy the equipment. That's the big one.
Great.
Having the equipment.
Because that is often the barrier to this, isn't it? Because we're talking about quite expensive stuff, because you would know good stuff versus bad stuff, how balanced they are, whether they all move freely, presumably. I'm guessing but I imagine that's the case.
And they're so easy to use. That's the big one, Greg. You know, you show them once and then they batter away themselves, and they have a group lead that maybe looks after the equipment or takes it home with them, and they set it up every week and they play away themselves.
All right, well, Virginia, continued success. Congratulations on your team being the champions again. Now the job is defending that championship.
That's correct.
Everyone's going to be gunning for you now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, sure, okay. They'll be listening.
We're looking forward to defending it.
Yeah, of course. All right, brilliant. Okay, anything else that we need to add, or are you happy enough?
Oh, we're happy. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
well, Virginia McLoone, it's been lovely having you in.
Thank you.
From the Manor Curling Club, current champions of the Donegal Curling League. A league hopefully will grow from here. It's already huge participation. I would have thought. I just didn't know about it. You know, when you don't know something, you go, wow, this is all happening and I didn't realise it, which is great. And of course, you just heard from Karen Guthrie, Donegal Sports Partnership Sports Development Officer. And the Donegal Sports Partnership can be contacted how, Karen?
07491160078, or on email to the info@Active Donegal account, or my name, Karen, just Karen.
Brilliant. And we will retain all those contacts for any of you out there to get in touch. You're really invited to, because it sounds great. Okay, a big thank you once again, Virginia. Happy curling. And also Karen Guthrie, again, lovely to have you in.
Thanks,
and we'll
Greg.
be back with more on the programme after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Fancy a weekend away? Join me, Sinead Black, for a weekend of social dancing, music and crack in the Connacht Hotel, Galway. From Friday the 24th to Sunday the 26th of March, myself and my band will be joined by TR Dallas, Jack Keogh, Alex Black, the Break Free Band and the Galway Dancers. To secure your place, call 086 231 9845 or visit SineadBlack.com.
At F&F, there's 25% off ladies and men's nightwear until this Tuesday the 14th with your Tesco Club card. That's 25% off PJs, loungewear and nightwear. Just in time to add a little ooh la la to Valentine's evening. Now that's worth popping in for. F&F, fashion at Tesco. Products subject to availability. Available in the majority of larger stores.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP rooms, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas, Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
New this week in Home Store and More.
all car accessories are half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price car accessories are gone, they're gone. Also, all frying pans and all pots and planters are still half price. But when all the half price frying pans and all the half price pots and planters are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More, a happy home.
Direct from the West End and rated 5 stars by the BBC, 7 Drunken Nights. The story of the Dubliners is the ultimate feel-good show, coming to Derry's Millennium Forum on Wednesday, February 22nd. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk or call 04871 264455. Wet n Wild is 20 years in business and would like to thank and reward our loyal customers with a massive 20% off absolutely every product purchased in store during the month of February. Choose from our massive in-store stock of quality outdoor clothing, footwear, equipment and accessories, and 20% discount of all prices will be applied at the till.
Okay, we are back in studio with more guests now. We have Alicia O'Hart, Young Social Innovator Programme at Ross's Community School, with us in the studio. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
We also have Tia Gallagher and Rihanna Doherty. They're of the transition year at Ross's Community School. Both of you, good morning.
Good morning.
You're very welcome to your morning off. You can thank me later.
Out of class, they're only delighted.
Of course, it's nice. Right, okay. Can you talk to me initially, Alicia, before we talk to Tia and Rihanna about their project? The whole concept of students being involved in projects, or what's it part of, or what's the aim of it, or what's the...
Yeah, no problem. So the students here, the girls, are involved in a team that's part of the Young Social Innovators group in the Ross Community School. It's a TY project. It's a national programme. It's really amazing, where it gives the students the opportunity to stand up and speak out about something that they feel passionate about, something that they feel needs change. A positive input, no matter how big or how small. It's just them trying to make a difference. And the beautiful thing about it is that it is student led, so they're the ones that come up with what they want to do. They're the ones that lead it. My role in it all is just simply to be a guide, just to kind of lead them in the right direction, answer questions, kind of help them in elements that they may not be able to do themselves, but they're the ones that run with it. So they learn an awful lot of skills. They learn to work in teams. They learn a lot of problem solving skills, all that kind of stuff that can bring them through lots of other different projects that they do in school and beyond in college. It's a great thing for their CVs.
Yeah, and to own an issue and to be able to talk about it, and to right any wrongs that are seen in that regard too. You can see how it's beneficial. So Rihanna, do you want to tell us about the project that you are working on?
Our project is called Menstrual Waves, and we started this because we feel that there's a lack of education regarding the menstrual cycle in the school's curriculum. Our tagline is "Learn to Raise Your Menstrual Waves," basically describing about teaching young girls about their hormones and how they rise and fall throughout their whole cycle and how to deal with them.
So it's understanding yourself better.
Yeah.
Now people might think, well, sure, everyone knows this information. You know, who are you telling, right? But yous have sort of yous have done a survey really on this as well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. We have.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Our survey told us that a lot of girls felt that they were uneducated and that they wanted to learn how to track their cycle and more about it, and that they weren't educated on the hormones, estrogen and progesterone, that rise and fall during their cycle, and like how they make them feel.
That can have on them,
yeah.
Right? So, I mean, obviously you can see where the gap is here, because, you know, mums or dads, guardians, either A, probably don't know the information necessarily, because we're learning all the time, but B, it is still, unfortunately, one of those subjects that people are a little bit uncomfortable talking about, and I'm not sure it necessarily forms in the level of detail that you're talking about part of the school curriculum. So there is a huge gap in information there, isn't there?
Yeah. In schools, they've made it so it is a choice to teach, so that it's not set in the curriculum, that they can choose if they want to teach it or not. So people in a different school down the road could get a much better quality education than us on it, as if we even get it at all, you know.
Yeah, and it is really quite remarkable that half the population, something that they experience, they wouldn't have necessarily all the information for them to know exactly what's going on or why they feel a certain way or whatever it might be.
The girls, when they were doing the research, they realised that any young girl would have about 460 cycles in their lifetime, and for them not to have that full education is such a shame. It's just not good enough. And as Tia was mentioning there about the choice, I suppose in home ec, for example, it used to be a very set curriculum, and with the new JCT curriculum that's come in, it's a more learning outcome base, which means that the teachers have a set amount of learning outcomes. And when we emailed, or when the girls emailed the team leaders within the home ec science and SPHE JCT curriculum leaders, they came back with a fantastic email. You know, they're very supportive of what the team was trying to do, and they gave examples of learning outcomes, but as they said themselves, that it was, you know, that they may explore the menstrual cycle, that it's not actually set on the curriculum, which is a huge loss for the students. So exactly as Tia said, some teachers might have huge confidence and be able to teach it and in a very high level, which would be amazing for the students. But unfortunately, some other teachers just don't have that knowledge or don't have that.
I think recognising that's actually really quite important, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how important then do you think, Tia or Rihanna, whichever you're more comfortable with, how important is it that both girls and boys understand this?
I think that it's equally important that they both understand it, so that, like, you know, boys can also help out like their girlfriends or whatever, and that then if they go on to teachers that they could teach it, and, you know, it would just result in a better education all around if they taught both boys and girls. Because a lot of the time when we were being taught, we'd get like taken separately and taught about it, and the boys wouldn't receive that, and I think that wasn't very, you know, fair on them either. And I don't know, I think it's very important for them to get it too.
They need to be aware of what youth are going through with either their sisters, their girlfriends, their mothers even.
So how does menstrual waves work then, Rihanna?
Menstrual waves works because it just describes what a woman goes through during these times, and it's just about teaching them about how they feel the way they do, just so they have a better understanding of themselves.
Yeah, and how they might feel different at different times. But as you say, as we said there, with the boys understanding it too, that's an important role. And where is this information given to students, Rihanna?
This information is given to students through... would you like to take a Miss O'Hart?
I suppose what Rihanna's trying to say there is what they're trying to do is to get a programme within the SPHE curriculum and science and home ec.
Rihanna, I landed you in that. My apologies. It's not your fault, Rihanna. This is aspiration. It's where we need to get to.
It's where we need to get to, yeah.
It's not something, it's not a project you're rolling out. So that's my bad, Rihanna.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
go ahead.
They have huge plans in terms of they're going to develop these amazing booklets with information for parents of 6th class students coming into secondary school, but also for 1st, 2nd and 3rd years. And it'll have a tracking system. So it's for girls to understand how to track their cycles. So, like, I suppose the education that they get is mainly about the period, which is only roughly about 5 days approximately. Obviously, everybody's different. But with this, it's teaching them about the whole cycle. It's a full month. And during that full month, the cycle goes through 4 different phases: the menstrual, the follicular, the ovulation and the luteal.
And what's actually physically happening during those processes?
So it's the hormones, which is where their project is learn to ride your menstrual waves. It's those waves, the fluctuation of estrogen and progesterone, and how that makes them feel at different times. And it's about teaching them how to be in sync with their bodies, to be more understanding of what is actually happening at certain days. So if they can track and know that, okay, you know, I'm coming up to ovulation, my estrogen's at its highest, I'm going to be feeling amazing, I'm going to be wanting to get out there, be more social. But after that, when the estrogen falls off, they can feel very different. They can start to feel very low, very introverted. All they want to do is, you know, sit and watch Netflix. And
do you know, I think this is really important, and as of right now, in understanding our emotions and, you know, not wrongly attributing them either.
Exactly, yeah, because they might feel like there's something wrong with them. It creates anxiety, it creates, you know, other kind of mental health issues where they think that there's something wrong.
And once you accept that, then
Yeah.
it can be quite debilitating. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is really positive in this regard. Does anyone have a view that in 2023 you're having to almost campaign to have this on the curriculum, this being discussed, people having to be educated about it? I mean, it's
a shame,
crazy.
really,
And
yeah.
I don't want to be, not trying to be controversial. I don't think this would be the case if this affected fellas.
Exactly.
And I'm not being populist here. I just give me an example. Give me an example where men would have to campaign for this type of stuff. It simply wouldn't happen.
Yeah, and like as the girls, when they were doing research as well, and we put polls out on their social media channels, and the information that came back was that the only time women learned about this was when they were having menstrual issues or when they were either trying to conceive and had to learn exactly what was going on, and that's too late. They should be learning about it from as soon as they start their menstrual cycles. It's not enough for them to be able to handle what's going on in their lives every day. It's just there needs to be more done.
And this is kind of coinciding, and I think quite well too, with the conversation and the progress we're having in terms of the normalisation of periods.
Let's get rid of the stigma.
Access to sanitary products in schools, freely available, in toilets of pubs or restaurants or wherever it might be. This is all, I think this is all interlinked in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, the YSI project last year actually did a project on that where they were getting rid of the stigma. Or not last year, 2 years ago. And they were getting free period products in the school toilets, and they did amazing as well, and made great movements in that. So, but we shouldn't be having to fight for it.
No.
It should be just there.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to pick it out as a particular subject to talk about, because people go, I can't believe you're talking about that, right? But if we get to where we need to be, it's not front and centre because it's normalised and right. Okay, anything Tia or Rihanna that you wish to add? Are we happy enough? We're all good?
Yeah.
All right, listen, well done to you. How are you enjoying transition year?
We're really enjoying it.
Yeah, what else are you doing? That's good.
Not an awful lot, yeah. We're learning guitar.
Yeah. And it's great for maybe different ones in your year that you probably didn't cross paths with. Your friends group can grow too. And
Yeah.
Are you doing any trips?
There's an end of a year trip to Spain, yeah.
Whereabouts? Do we know yet?
I don't know, actually.
There's been loads of trips. They're always on the road.
I think this might be the first international one that's sort of standing out. All right.
Well, we went to Glasgow too. That was kind of cool, but
that's all
not
right, isn't it?
Spain.
Lots of team building stuff, lots of other things. Yeah, the TY
We've a
programme.
lot of listeners in Scotland, so just don't go any further than that. All right, okay.
No, the TY programme in the school, I have to say, is fantastic. They do a lot of work. The kids, they get a lot of opportunities.
Do you think
which
it
is
needs
fantastic.
to be protected? Because obviously
Yes.
there is some potential changes that's going to bring, some coursework right up to the end of that. I think there's great value in it, and I think even those that skip it sometimes find themselves going back to it. Do you think it needs to be enshrined, Alicia, to make sure we don't lose the positives?
Yes, TY is definitely something that I would always recommend for the students to do. It's just that wee break. It's where they get to,
I think it's great growth in that year.
Growth,
though.
huge
I've seen
growth,
it myself.
yeah.
I just think, it's a year that maybe the people themselves don't see it,
Yeah.
but the people around them do see it.
And there are students who want to just get out the other side, and I understand that too. Some students might just want to get back into apprenticeships or the world of work. But, for everybody, no matter what the end goal is, they get to explore things that they would never get to explore. They get to gain skills that they would never get to do, their work experience. We have an awful lot of students coming over from Spain and different places, and it's learning different cultures. It's, it really is such a benefit to the students. So, yeah, it definitely needs to be protected.
Right. Is it just you, Tia and Rihanna, involved in this, or do you have to mention anybody else?
There's a whole group.
There's a whole group.
Too
yeah.
many to mention. Yep.
We could probably racket it off.
Well,
And there's
If we
there's two boys stuck in the middle of it. God love them, or three
More.
boys, yeah. And they're having to listen to all of the girls giving out, but they're learning
well.
loads. They're learning loads.
They should be, yeah.
You're right.
Okay, right, listen. Rihanna Doherty, thank you.
Thank you.
Great to have you in, Rihanna. Tia Gallagher, well done to you as well. Both
Thanks.
transition year students at Ross's Community School. And Alicia O'Hart, Young Social Innovators Programme. You're part of that at Ross's Community School, is that correct?
Yeah, just I'm the guide. Yeah,
The guide,
this
okay.
year. So
Right, okay, well done. Which is fair play to you too as well. Normally at
it's-
this point, the students jump in and say how great the teacher is?
No, the students are doing all the work.
She's been helpful.
Normally that's what happens. I'm not putting any words in your mouth, but that's normally what happens.
They're sick listening to me. That's the problem, going on and on.
No, she has been a great help, obviously, organising
begrudgingly
a lot of
too.
They're great kids to work with. I have to say, no, it's one of these programs where you get to know the students really well, because it's not that typical curriculum based thing. It's a little bit more relaxed, and they get to know me, I get to know them, and we have good crack.
Okay, so we've done the third level in the first hour. Secondary level will be in baby infants by 12.
We were listening to Barry. It was very interesting. So hopefully the Letterkenny Institute might take on some of our things as well with the tracking and that could be good.
I think so. That would be and it would be a great mark for the project as well to have achieved that. All right, Alicia O'Hart, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And Tia Gallagher, Rihanna Doherty, all from the Rosses Community School. Right, get back to it now.
The bus is waiting.
The party's over. Good luck.
Thank you.
We love pancakes at Dunnes Stores. Whip up a fresh batch with a 6-pack of eggs, only $1.40, or choose an 8-pack of our ready-made pancakes for just €1.10. Add lemon and sugar or some 70-cent chocolate chips and fresh raspberries 125 grams for €2. We have everything you need to make perfect pancakes your way. And to top it all off, you can save with our 5 off 25 grocery vouchers. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
We can all see how conflict affects energy supply and prices. More than ever, we need to be mindful of how we use energy. By reducing your use, you can save money and lessen the impact. Here's how. Only heat your home to the temperature you need. Use appliances efficiently. And where possible, outside the peak hours of 4 to 7 p.m. Consider walking, cycling, or public transport for short journeys. Drive at lower speeds where safe to do so. Government advice and supports are available for homes and businesses to help you meet this challenge. Find out more at gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Sheridan Security, now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
I hear you some wiring needs a fixing, ma'am. The name's Buzz, on account of my work.
No chance.
Not all cowboys ride horses. All safe electric registered electrical contractors must give you a certificate of completion that shows their work meets approved standards. Find one nearby on safeelectric.ie.
For the perfect gift for Valentine's Day, you can't go wrong with perfume. And you won't go wrong at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. If she is a firm favourite, McGee's have all the top names like Chanel, Calvin Klein, Gucci and Giorgio Armani. Also, Dolce & Gabbana, Lancôme, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Paco Rabanne and many more. Get the perfect gift at the perfect price this Valentine's Day at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. Or order online at mcgees.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect to 80 plus destinations worldwide, including Boston and New York. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
And the weather's going to be relatively steady for the next wee while. Today, mostly dry with light winds. There'll be sunny spells and the chance of an isolated shower. Temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees and mostly light to moderate, occasionally fresh west to southwest winds. Thanks again to the girls for calling in and talking about that. And thanks to yous out there as well. I know every subject is not what we all want to hear about, but I'm so pleased that we're in a space now where, you know, when the time's right, that young people can come in and talk about what's important to them or what's affecting them, and we have that space to be able to do that now, which I think is great. Okay, let me see, what do I have to do next? Read some comments. No, I nearly pressed the wrong button. That would have been a disaster. Right, okay, I'm on track. I know what I'm doing. Well done, Karen Guthrie, and her help with the curling club on your show. Yeah, indeed, I love that. I thought that was great. A great conversation. Hi, Greg. Have been getting a lot of unknown calls from the UK, London, Yorkshire, etc. No voicemail, text, ask who they were, but no answer. Suspect it's a scam. Wonder if other people here are getting the same. It's very possibly is. Nowadays, the way they can clone numbers it's no longer really indicative where the call is emanating from. Do you know what I mean? So it could be coming from the south of France, but the telephone number could be virtually the same as the Garda station in Milford. Do you know what I mean? So the location of the numbers aren't really as critical. I wonder, do you have a UK registered telephone number maybe? And that's why you're getting those types of calls? Because lots of us are getting lots of scam calls all of the time, it seems. Right, okay. I'm just checking the clock to see what I have time for ahead of the news. Hi, Greg. I think what the girls are trying to do with the menstrual cycle is amazing. As someone in her 40s and now battling infertility, if I'd known what to look out for in my cycle, I may have been able to get help a lot sooner. I've been saying that we all should have been taught this. Well done, girls. Exactly. And, you know, when that is normalised, as I said actually in the conversation, when that is normalised, you see, then you don't have to pull it out and have a particular conversation about it. Right, let's get news headlines after this break.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
At Centra this Valentine's, we have great mega deals. Like Centra Fresh Irish lamb leg 1.2 kilo, only $9.99. Cadbury milk tray 530 gram, half price now $9.75. And Griffon Prosecco, Frizzante and Rosé, now €7 each. Smart choices, choose Centra. Centra, live every day. Enjoy sensibly.
Direct from the West End and rated 5 stars by the BBC, 7 Drunken Nights. The story of the Dubliners is the ultimate feel-good show, coming to Derry's Millennium Forum on Wednesday, February 22nd. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk or call 04871 264455.
Clonid, in a lifetime. The Farewell Dublin Show. Live at 3 Arena, Saturday, February 18th. Tickets from €49 are on sale now. May be subject to fees. Presented by Singular Artists.
Time to support your immune system and gut health. Choose new Udo's Choice Super 8 Immune Microbiotics with vitamin C to support the normal function of the immune system. Illness, poor eating habits and stress affect your immune system and can alter the balance of your friendly gut bacteria. 42 billion friendly bacteria per capsule and vitamin C makes new Super 8 Immune your #1 choice for gut health and immunity this season. Discover the Udo's Choice Microbiotics family range in the fridge at your local health store or pharmacy.
In this week's RTE Guide, Mary Kennedy on embracing change, finding love again and downsizing. The Crown's Claire Foy on her compelling new film and its powerful theme of hope. Plus, Home of the Year's Sarah Cosgrove shares spring trends and tips in our Home and Interior special. Everything and more. RTE Guide, on sale now.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
All right, another busy hour on the way. Stay right where you are, but let's first get a news update. And we say good morning now to Jade McClafferty.
Thanks, Greg. Bertie Ahern has announced his return to politics. The former Taoiseach is back in Fianna Fáil after resigning in 2012. At the time, Micheál Martin was making moves to expel him over the findings of the Mahon Tribunal. A Donegal deputy says Rock All has cost Irish fishermen millions. Deputy Padraig McLaughlin has slammed both the British and Irish governments over their failure to reinstate access to the 12-mile limit around Rock All. It's been 2 years since the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement came into effect, yet he says the blockade by British authorities continues. Taoiseach Leo Varadkar will meet the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky later in Brussels. The Ukrainian leader will address a special meeting of the European Council after trips to London and Paris. There's growing anger in Turkey with accusations that the government there has been slow to respond. Monday's earthquake has killed more than 16,000 people so far, with others still feared missing. Relatives say more could have been rescued if help had arrived sooner. A West Donegal councillor fears the lack of investment in roads infrastructure in Gweedore could give the wrong impression to investors. Councillor Micheál Colin McGilla Espug says the state of the roads and footpaths in the local business park is hampering efforts to attract new businesses to the area. Donegal ETB has announced 2 appointments to support Ukrainian students coming into the county. Recent figures show that last month there were almost 1,200 Ukrainian children attending the schools in Donegal, 752 in primary schools and 405 in Ukrainian students in post-primary schools. Those are the latest headlines, and we'll be back with more at 12 o'clock.
Thank you, Jade. I have a bone to pick with you, by the way.
Oh, go on.
Do you know how long I've been working here for?
How long?
15 years. Do you know how many newspaper articles there have been about me?
Only I.
Do you know how many?
How many?
None.
When we take it up, I'll send in something, will it?
Good luck. All right, back with more after the break.
Let's join Steve live for the build-up. What's your prediction?
I've been watching this team for a very long time, Gary, and I can tell you now, the score will be 3-1, there'll be over 9 corners, and the French lad will score a header.
Very specific, Steve.
It's Bet Builder from LiveScore Bet, pal. You can combine markets from thousands of options to create your own bet. Or, if you can't make up your mind, choose from the pre-built quick bet options.
Which is exactly what you did, isn't it? Bet Builder from LiveScore Bet. Building a bet just got easier. Full account terms apply. Bet responsibly. 18+, gamblingcare.ie.
Okay, a caller says, good on these girls. It's such a shame they have to campaign for this. Yes, indeed. But listen, they're creating a path so others won't have to. Greg, even down to being denied to go to the toilet when you know you've gotten your period, unless you tell the whole class you're stuck, it's not good enough. Well, that hopefully doesn't happen. I hope there would be an understanding there. Okay, I want to mention a couple of things here. A Valentine's Disco is being held in McGettigan's Hotel Main Street, Letterkenny by Donegal Down Syndrome. It's on Saturday, the 11th of February. That's the day after tomorrow. It runs from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Admission, €10 with carers and guardians free. So, what are you doing Saturday night? Get along to McGettigan's Hotel Main Street, Letterkenny for a Valentine's Disco running from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Admission just a tenner. I also want to congratulate Patrick and Phyllis Peoples, who are 70 years married today. They got married in St. Eunice Cathedral 1953 before taking their 7 children to Scotland in 1965. Big request, lots of love coming in to you from your loving family. What a remarkable milestone to reach together. 70 years married. Patrick, and Phyllis Peoples. I just hope you have the most wonderful day. Lots of love coming in from all of your family, and I'm sure friends, and I'm sure all the listeners joining in congratulating you. 1953, they got married in St. Eunan's Cathedral. Right, I want to give a shout out to our community hero. It's not a competition, really. Is it a competition? It's not really. We're not viewing it as a competition. It's an initiative. It's a community hero award which will honour a neighbour, one of your neighbours, your family, a friend, colleague, a member of the community, a community supporter who's made an extraordinary contribution within their community. We're looking for you to email in your nominations. What do they receive? They receive a 231 Nissan Qashqai for 12 months. Right, so the closing date for entries is the 22nd of February, so it's closing in a little bit. So as I said before, and it's the easiest way I find to explain it, you know someone in your life or someone in your community or someone in the area who gives so much, right? And it'd almost be embarrassed if you went to praise them for it. And maybe they have an older vehicle, or maybe they don't have a vehicle, but they're over 18 with a full licence. Nominate them. They could win access to this car for a year. It's a beauty. It's the Nissan Qashqai. One of the best-selling cars, and not surprisingly, in Ireland. To nominate the person, email their name and a bit of information. I don't need you to write an essay or a 5-volume manuscript. Just a couple of words to describe why they deserve this prize. Email comments@highlandradio.com, or if you want to jot it down, you can do that and post it or drop it into Highland Radio, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. We're going to announce the winner on this show on the 24th of February. Also, by the way, just a hint, right? If you're a fan of a certain Mr. Jones, Welsh crooner, internationally famous, he's going to be playing soon. We're going to have a word on something that will benefit you if you wanted to go and see him in the not too distant future. So stay tuned for that. We might talk to you about that tomorrow. A caller says, Greg, I see X Factor are looking for a new new judge. Who's leaving? I don't know who's leaving. After Saturday night, you're the man for the job. Great night, great cause. Vinny and Marty here from V&M Podcast. We had a good laugh, loved the show. Cheers, gentlemen, and they are two gentlemen, Vinny and Marty. They've got a great podcast out there called V&M Podcast, and they're interviewing loads of different guests. Jason Quigley was one. There's a few others, and some interesting ones coming up, but two really good guys, Vinny and Marty as well, though Vinny's the mouthy one. But they both contribute well to that podcast. And we had great fun on Saturday night. It was up on Greenon in Bird. It was a fundraiser for a hub for younger people in Calais. And there were 10 brilliant acts that got up, some better than others, right? But some were fantastic. And there were some did it for a bit of fun, and some clearly are really, really, really very, very talented in what they were doing. And it was impossible to pick a winner, but a winner had to be pickened, if such a word exists. But you know what it reminded me of? And I think it's Christine is one of the organisers of it. In our region around here, we are blessed with people who do stuff. They decide, right, what can we do to raise money for young people or for older people or for anyone? You know, when they give up their time, when they take it on top of jobs and what have you, and they organise it all. And I think often maybe when they start, when it all starts, they wonder, why did they do this? But in every part of our beautiful region, there are these people that do this stuff for the community, and not for thanks, they do it for the community. And I think it is amazing, and it's really who we are. And everywhere. And then we were able to, once that was finished, we were able to go to the Silver Tassie for a wee bit to support the Truckers for Creaslow event. Again, got to chat to Colin briefly there, the man behind it, you know, doing amazing things, and everyone that turned up, raising so much money and showing so much solidarity to those affected by Creaslow. And that was just 2 events, and I'm sure there were dozens more happening across the region, but that was just one Saturday night, just ordinary people going out of the way to help others. And I think that's really, you know, that's where our strengths are, and that's the positives that's out there, and we need to focus more on that kind of stuff as well. So I was delighted to be involved in that. Random, but you know what? It was great. Let us take a break, shall we? Because our next guest is going to be joining us in just a couple of minutes.
Stop Highland Radio are going to Scotland from Monday the 1st of May to Thursday the 4th of May with the very best of music, and we would love for you to join us. Staying at the 4-star Crown Plaza Hotel in Glasgow, we are bringing with us some of the biggest country stars, including myself, David James, Declan Ernie and Robert Mazzell, to name a few. You will enjoy luxury travel to Glasgow, 3 nights dinner, bed and breakfast with music and entertainment each evening. Join us on the Highland Fling to Glasgow this May for only €575 per person. To book, call Highland Radio today on 074 91 25000. Early booking is advisable. Single supplement applies.
Weanling trade is on fire. For more in your Farmer's Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
As weanling prices keep climbing, we look at what's driving demand. Sheep farmers await Competition Authority investigation on Kildare chilling sale. As lambing season kicks off, our special focus advises on how to keep a lid on costs. New TAM scheme. Find out what new equipment and grant rates you can apply for. Factories pushing beef farmers to cut emissions by 30%. And we examine how farm partnerships can break down.
Only inside this week's Irish Farmer's Journal.
Greener choices are the key to a sustainable future. That's why Energia is leading the way in renewable energy technologies like wind, solar, and battery storage. Because the choices we all make today will change how we live tomorrow.
Toyota Relax, our new service-activated warranty, is now available at Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Whether you bought your Toyota from us, a classified ad, or your auntie, once it's less than 10 years old with under 185,000 kilometres, you will get a 12-month warranty when you get your service at Kelly's Toyota, Letterkenny or Mount Charles. For more, search Toyota Relax. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, it is Thursday, the 9th of February, 10 minutes past 11. Thank you for choosing the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. And we welcome into studio now, it's great to have so many studio guests, of course, Dr. Pauline Gallagher, Senior Medical Officer of Immunisation in Donegal. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Right, we're talking about the Laura Brennan HPV catch-up clinics in Donegal. Can I begin by asking why it's named after Laura Brennan, for those who aren't aware, and what is the campaign about?
Yeah, Laura Brennan was that poor girl who died of cancer of the cervix, aged 26 in 2019. And in the terminal phase, she spent her time promoting the HPV vaccine. People would have seen her on the Late Late Show, etc. And since that, her parents have continued to promote the HPV vaccine, and they have agreed to put her name to this campaign. Mm-hmm. So since the vaccine was introduced in 2010, we have been vaccinating young people in first year and secondary school, and a certain number have missed out over the years. For example, last year we vaccinated 70%, so we know there's a percentage missing. This catch-up campaign then is to get those who have missed out being vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. We are in, and this was referenced recently by the WHO, we're in this almost not unique position, but a particular position whereby this is, there's cancers, right, that we can effectively eliminate.
Yeah, that's correct.
Which is not something, I mean, we'd love to get to a point where we could say that of all cancers, but through these programs here, this is one cervical cancer that we can almost, I think, I'm not misquoting the WHO, eliminate it.
No, that's correct. And nearly 100% of cancers of the cervix are caused by the HPV virus, and this vaccine will prevent that, and that's what makes it such a great vaccine and so important that we get as many young people vaccinated as possible to decrease the pool of HPV in the community and to prevent the cancer of the cervix. And you have to remember there's other cancers as well, cancers of the anus, mouth and throat cancers, and penile cancers that are prevented with this vaccine as well. Okay. Now,
how might someone contract HPV? Because obviously, people having HPV is far more likely than them suffering from some of the cancers you mentioned. This is a cancer-causing thing, right? But it doesn't mean that everyone who gets HPV will develop cancer either. So can you talk to us a little bit about HPV, how it's contracted, and then maybe its relationship with the cancers that you talk of?
Yeah, so everyone who is sexually active, almost 100%, will get the HPV virus. The vast majority of people, like so many viruses that we come in contact with, their immune system deals with the virus themselves, and that's the end of it. But in a small percentage, the virus persists, and that's what causes the cancers then long term. So while you get the HPV virus at a younger age, the cancers can develop over 15, 20 years.
And some people struggle with us talking about something that's sexually transmitted and young people. You know, there are some that might have the view that this in some way is a green light for sexual activity. You know, I'm really trying to get to and talk to the people who may not engage in this vaccination program. Do you recognise that there are some out there with those views?
I think while the virus is sexually transmitted, it's in effect anyone who is ever sexually active is probably going to get this virus. So that makes a difference, I think. And I think people have to live with the reality that the vast majority of us are going to be sexually active, mm-hmm. and that is how the virus is transmitted.
How have some people been missed? I imagine there's appointment days and people might be away. I would suspect there is... with all the conversations about other vaccines, there's a bit of toxicity that people in their mind are grouping all vaccines in together. I've no doubt, because I've spoken to people, I've no doubt that is also a factor. Are those reasons, or do you have your own contributing to the 30% that didn't take it up last year?
Yeah, I suppose the reasons can be summarised. Convenience is an important one. So we vaccinate the first years in school, and if any of those first years are absent on the day, then we will send them a follow-up appointment. But it's often difficult for parents to get to those appointments. Consent forms get lost, and as time goes on, they lose track of the fact that they haven't got it. Now, we do try and make it as convenient as possible for people by going into the schools, but we do miss out some. And I suppose the other factor then we call complacency, and that is people just don't think it's going to happen to them. But the reality is that in Ireland there's about 300 cancers of the cervix every year, and about 90 die. So that, is a way of getting over the fact of being complacent about it.
All right. So, but some will look at that and say, well, the odds are still relatively small. Is this vaccine safer? I don't trust the vaccine. So what would you say to them?
Yeah, the vaccine is extremely safe vaccine. It has been studied now for 16 years. It is monitored by the World Health Organization, European Medicines Association, and there's been no safety signals with the HPV vaccine. In the website hpv.ie, there's over 100 papers that people can look at that confirm the safety and the efficacy of the vaccine.
Are there multiple strains of HPV, and if so, does this vaccine cover them all?
Yeah, there's multiple strains of HPV. There's over 100. This vaccine is called Gardasil 9, which means it is effective against 9 of the types of the HPV. And that has focused on the main cancer preventing and the main genital wart causing groups of the HPV. So it is
targeted to specific strains of HPV?
Specifically the cancer causing.
Do they evolve and change like we might see with a flu virus, for example?
No, the HPV is stable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't evolve, it doesn't change.
All right. In the past, I've spoken to parents who cost was a barrier. I believe if you missed out and you were a certain age and you went back to try and get the vaccine, that there might have been a charge. I hope we've done away with that, have we?
The programme has been targeted at eligible people, and those are people who are under 25, females under 25, females who are in 2nd to 6th year in secondary school, and males who are in 2nd to 4th year in secondary school, or if they skip transition year, 5th year. Now, anyone outside those eligible cohorts can still get the vaccine through their GP, and it is an expensive vaccine.
I don't want to draw you into controversy when you're trying to get information out there, but surely for everything that we've been speaking about now, we should have free access to this vaccine for all that would benefit from it.
Yes, well, that is free access for all females under 25 and the eligible criteria, and that is who's been targeted by this campaign currently.
How many doses of the vaccine are actually needed? You talked about people getting an initial dose in first year.
Yeah, 1 dose is all that is needed now, and that is a change. It was introduced in December because the international evidence is that 1 dose of the vaccine is providing lasting immunity. Because the vaccine has been around, used in Ireland since 2010 and in other countries for longer, the testing has shown that 1 dose of the vaccine is maintaining efficacy, and that is maintaining now for over 11 years.
Right, so where are these clinics taking place then across the county?
In Donegal, we are providing clinics in Letterkenny, and there's 2 per month. The February clinics are on the 13th, which is Monday coming, and the 27th. The venue is, we're currently using the CVC Centre, which people know in Lisnanen, which is the centre where the COVID vaccines were administered. The clinics are running from 9:30 until 4:30. Anyone who wants to register for this can go to hpv.ie.
Okay.
And there is a Laura Brennan catch-up campaign icon there.
And people will message, so I'll ask the question before you depart. Letterkenny is an awful long way away from an awful lot of Donegal. Are there any plans at this point to have satellite services available, or maybe in central or north Inishowen, West Donegal, Donegal Town, for example?
No, so far we're only providing the 1 centre in Letterkenny, but for that age cohort that we're targeting, for example, some of them might be in college in different areas, so every county is running this catch-up campaign, so it might be more convenient for some college students, say, to get it in there.
The third level educational hub.
Exactly,
okay. Yeah. What about side effects? Callers on the fence on it, concerned about side effects?
this is a very safe and effective vaccine. I have been involved in the school programme, delivering it in the schools, as I say, since 2010. So what we see is 90% of people have no effect. Then there's transient, mild side effects. For example, about 1 in 10 might get a sore arm. We would say maybe about 1 in 100 might get a slight fever, slight headache. But again, that would be very transient, lasting 12, 24 hours.
Okay. And there's more information, I'm sure, available for parents, guardians to do the research. I mean, we don't want anyone doing anything without feeling that they're fully briefed on something. So where might people get more information on this vaccine?
So that website, hpv.ie, has all the information you need, including, what to bring for the clinic, how to register. And on the menu bar along the top, there is information materials. And there's a reference to all the research, all the information you need to know about the vaccine.
Now, someone listening might sort of go, right, well, I want to get my daughter or son the vaccine, but they might not be due it yet through their school. So, so what age group? It's first year primarily, isn't it? So in other words, if your student's under 16, for example, your child's under 16, do nothing, you wait, and that'll be done through the school. Is that correct?
Exactly. So, yeah, the regular first year campaign is running as normal. So we go into the schools twice a year and deliver the vaccine to the first years. So then for over 16s can register on the portal hpv.ie, and then the in-between group in the schools we will be targeting when we go in to do our school vaccination programme, which will be happening during March, April and May.
All right, and a lot of the focus has been on girls and girls under 25. How important is it that boys receive this vaccine?
Yeah, well, about 50 countries internationally now have added in boys to the programme. And for boys, there's the protection against genital warts, and there's also protection against anal cancers, and mouth and throat cancers and penile cancers. And it also decreases the pool of HPV infection in the community.
Okay. Anything else that you think you need to add?
Well, just to reiterate, HPV catch-up campaign for all females under 25, for all girls in secondary school from second year to sixth year, and for all boys in secondary school up to fourth year, or if they've skipped transition year in fifth year. Available in Letterkenny, 2 clinics a month, and information via hpv.ie.
Okay. Dr. Pauline Gallagher, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you.
It's been lovely having you in. So that's Dr. Pauline Gallagher there, Senior Medical Officer in Immunisation in Donegal. We'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Transform your home with a visit to McGinley's Furniture, Letterkenny, located at the Portlink Business Park just off the Port Road. You'll find a huge selection of top quality suites, beds and mattresses, also slide robes and custom-made dining and occasional furniture, with prices to suit every budget. See the great choice for yourself at our showroom, McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. Click mcginleysfurniture.com.
Hello, thanks for waiting. Could you hold the line?
Yeah, no problem.
Now, how can I help you?
Hi, I'm looking to make some updates to my insurance policy.
Have you tried our online portal?
I thought it would be easier to call.
Yeah. No. You're going to have to log on to amend your policy. Thanks for calling.
No, wait. I don't know my password.
Get the feeling that your insurer doesn't want to talk to you? At Local Insurance, we understand your needs. Call today for a bespoke quote or find us online at localinsurance.ie. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Ireland's biggest ever tribute weekend is coming back to Donegal. Trib Bash 2023 is taking place at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny on the 10th and 11th of February. The nation's very best tribute acts take to the stage with the fantastic award-winning Johnny Cash and June Carter tribute show Cash Returns. The sellout show Mac Fleetwood as Fleetwood Mac. The smash hit ABBA a tribute with Bjorn Identity and the show-stopping Queen tribute. Limited tickets available now at the hotel reception and online at eventbrite.ie. Tribash 2023, the perfect Valentine's party weekend.
2023 is already turning out to be an electric year for Hyundai. Why? Because Hyundai is the best-selling electric car brand in January 2023. And the Ioniq 5 is now officially Ireland's best-selling electric car. Make 2023 the year you make the change to fully electric driving.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 91 22 600.
Okay, our next guest on the programme is Bilal Al Jahid, and he joins us now. Jalil, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Bilal, for joining us. And unfortunately, again, sorry to be speaking to you under these circumstances. Originally from Homs in Syria, but now living in Letterkenny, Bilal, and it must be incredibly difficult to see what's unfolding in your country. It's a difficult situation on top of difficult situation for your countrymen.
Yeah, thank you for you.
What are you hearing from Syria, Bilal? I presume it's hard to get information with so much going on.
It's now for Syria is a very, very, very problem because you have earthquake in Syria and Turkey. You have 2,000 people killed now, and more 3,000 more maybe 1,000 or 2,000 in down building. No any country help now Syria. No any country. All the country go to Turkish. Help just Turkish now.
Yeah, and it's difficult, isn't it, to get money and whatever might be needed to the people that need it in Syria at the moment?
No, you don't. The country, you don't have money. You need just help. You need people. You need electric. You need fuel. You need anything. No money. No everything money for my country. You need people, you need doctor, you need ambulance. Now everything problem.
Because obviously work is going quickly to try and save people in Turkey. You don't see the same situation in your home country.
Yeah, because now Turkish close for my country and Turkish. He can't come anybody for Syria now. It's closed.
How does that make you feel?
It's a problem. It's very sad. It's very sad now.
And
you need help. You need bribe for Syria. You need everything.
And this individuals really, this people themselves. This requires countries to respond, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, for morning, you have some problem now for river. It's a problem for what's the Taliban? Tsunami? Is a tsunami now for Idlib?
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I hope the calls are heard and I hope Syria gets the help that it needs as well. The thought of people that could be rescued under rubble not being rescued is heartbreaking, Bilal.
Yeah, please. You need for government or government for European, for world. You speak with Turkey open for Syria. No close.
Okay.
Now we need people help. No close.
Understood. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. And as I say, our thoughts are with your country people. No problem. That's Bilal Akhbedili I beg your pardon. Abdejalil. My mistake there. Okay, let's get back to some comments here. Good morning, Greg. In relation to slurry and tankers, what are farmers supposed to do? Not their fault that roads are not suitable. Very frustrating for them as well. Also, campaigning for years to get their slurry used for energy, but nothing being done. Your show will be coming down with people complaining about slurry, but not all farmers' fault. Well, listen, our programme, our area, it covers an awful lot of agricultural areas across the northwest, and there is an understanding. I think the people understand. I have not been inundated, let me say, by people having a go at farmers. Okay, so hopefully that's encouraging. Welcome news that God is to be given a gender neutral makeover. If only the church would change policy on abortion and homosexuality, the pews would be full again, says one listener. The current issue about overcharging patients in private homes for 30 to 40 years being illegal, it crosses my mind. What about girls being sacked from their employment in the civil service for getting married? There are few people still living who suffered the guilty unjust government verdict, and very few of the present population even know of this crazy law, if it was a law. Could this be as illegal now as the private homes issue? After all, it was implemented by the same Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael governments. Is there any hope of a claim here? Well, it's not. I think there's actually quite a lot of people alive that affects, because they're having to live on pensions less than their male counterparts. So that's still a very, very live issue. But thank you very much for your text. I appreciate it. Right, as you may be aware, Gardaí have again pleaded for any public assistance into the murder of a man in Buncrana, because today is the 11th anniversary of the murder of 24-year-old Andrew Allen. Woody Allen is Andy's uncle and joins us on the programme now. Woody, thank you for taking our call 11 years ago, but I'm sure it's still very fresh in your memories and in your hearts as well, Woody.
Oh, very much so. It's something that you'll never forget. It was an awful night, a truly awful night, and I suppose not one of the worst things, but there was so much confusion that night is how I remember it, and we were hearing this family that he died, and then people who were at the scene in the media were saying to me, no, he's not dead. The guards are saying he's not, and so on and so forth, and as I say, for his closest family, especially mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, it was a night they'll never forget, or neither will I. It was one of the most horrible experiences, having to, when people suffer the murder of a loved one like that, and especially in such a barbaric fashion.
There's one picture sort of has become synonymous with Andy and the appeals, but that doesn't tell us about Andy himself. But that's, it's the only image we have. You have all the other images and all the other memories. Can you tell us a bit about Andy?
Andy was happy-go-lucky. He was always up for a joke, a laugh, and so on. He loved Newcastle United football team. He loved boxing. And I think he talked about going back to boxing in Buncrana. He wanted to join a club there. It was very, very popular across all sides of the community here in Derry, and that was something that really struck home when we saw just how many people were coming forward and saying how much they thought about him, how they couldn't believe this had happened. And so many young people. Afterwards, there were some rallies organised against the Republican Action Against Drugs in Derry to protest against this barbarity, and the number of young people that took part, and they came from all sides of the community, and that showed us all, how well thought of he was, and I think gave the lie to what Republican Action Against Drugs claimed about him. It wasn't the person that Andy was.
Which makes it even more difficult for family, isn't there? Because whilst dealing with your grief, you also probably feel you have to counter a perception that's out there as well. So that's, you don't want to be having to deal with that when you deal, and it's the nature of his passing as well. It's an awful lot to contend with.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was really brutal, and I went along to the inquest, and that was very difficult too. And as you say, as we're well aware in this part of the world, often when someone's killed wrongly, there comes a cover-up and a smear campaign afterwards, and that's what we have felt that we haven't just buried someone who we all loved. We then had to fight to clear his name, and no one should have to do that. And the guy that they called a master criminal was trying to get a job in a pizza place in Derry the night before he was killed. And a few hours before he was shot, he'd asked his brother to lend him some money. That was Andrew, not the person that was portrayed by the people who murdered him.
In annual appeals that I've done with Gardaí, and it is seemingly almost every year now, the theme I get from them, and I wonder would you echo this, Woody, is that the investigation is stalled, and what will move it forward is people that they know or strongly suspect have information that's sitting on their conscience, or that they want to get off their chest, and it's that information that will be the key to unlock this case. Is that how you see it, Woody?
Yes, I think so. I mean, the Gardaí obviously have built up a big picture of what happened. We know that. I think that they know exactly who was responsible and how they carried it out. They know, but what's lacking is just that one piece of evidence that could allow them to take this into court. And I think, what we hope is that loyalties might have changed over the years, or someone who was involved at the time may have it on their conscience and maybe not be able to live with the fact that they were involved in such a callous murder, and would finally come forward and tell the truth. And hopefully, we all still hope that they will be brought to justice. And despite the fact it's 11 years on, we do believe the Gardaí are trying hard, and that they won't let this go.
But what we do know is that very quickly 11 years becomes 20 years and becomes 30 years, and you don't want to be going down that road.
No, we don't. I mean, the inquest itself was one step on the way to closure, as people call it. I don't think there can ever be a closure after an incident like that.
Yeah.
But at least it puts, it acknowledges what happened to Andrew, and now we just would love to see the people who caused that to happen pay the penalty.
Is it difficult for people, the family of Andy, sort of living in the same area, the same community, let me put it like that, though community, when I use that word, it has different connotations in our part of the world, but maybe living among those responsible or those that know something, I can imagine that must be very difficult.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, obviously they see them all the time. They could walk past them on the street, and there's that old silly saying, the dogs in the street know who did it, and sometimes the dogs in the street do. Although I think what the PSNI have said here in the past is the dogs in the street can't give evidence. And that's why we'd want someone who can help put these people into court would come forward. But you're right, yes, there are times when you pass these people on the street. His mother has told me that she's walked past, and although she said they put their faces down, but it's an awful way to be living, when you're encountering the killers of your son in the street, as you go about your everyday business, knowing that they at least think they've got away with it and might get away with it.
Yeah.
So we hope not.
That's exactly how I thought it might feel, Woody. Lots of people messaging in support of you. I mean, obviously at this point you just want the information to move this forward, but hopefully you and the rest of the family get comfort from people messaging in, wishing you luck and justice as well.
Oh, yes. We've had that. There's always a great outpouring of support at this time of the year. And we all appreciate that. And as I say, a lot of people saw that for what it was. Whatever the motive was, people know it wasn't what they claimed. And it is some comfort to know how well thought of it was, and that people are supportive of the family.
Yeah, and I, like you, skirt around the word closure because it means so many different things, and for some it never comes. But justice, an outcome to this, would make the birthdays, the anniversaries, Christmas those events a little bit more easier, I would imagine, if people could go and visit Andy's grave in the knowledge that those responsible have been held accountable for what they've done.
Yes, and even if we never get that, if they would even admit that they were wrong, even that would be a start. If they were to admit, as I was told privately at the time, that they'd made a mistake, but they still released that statement, so if they would at least admit they messed that one up.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like yesterday to me what you're talking of, so I can only begin to imagine what it must be like for you and the rest of the family. Woody, listen, thank you for speaking on this day. And one of these years, maybe the appeal will reach the ears of a person that you have described and talk of, that want this off their chest, that want this off their conscience, maybe before they themselves.
Yes, hopefully all we need is that one spark that will light up the whole investigation.
All right, best of luck to you, Woody. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
I'm thinking on you and the family, of course. You know that. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
that's Woody Allen there, who's the uncle of Andrew Allen. Right, okay. Thanks for all of you who have been texting in the show. I really do appreciate it. A caller says the GEA pitch in Castlefin is the same at night with lights on. You can't see the road. We were talking earlier on to a listener who's having that difficulty in a particular area. I'm delighted Bertie Ahern to take over Fianna Fáil party. A nail in the coffin for the party. Time to call themselves the Tory party and join Fine Gael. All right, okay. Not a Fianna Fáil membership card holder there, I don't think. Bertie Ahern, old pension must be drying up. Okay. Bertie Ahern, well, I suppose he'll fit right in. Ahern, the finance minister with no bank account, give us a break. Okay, I get you. That's the tone of it. But some positives, which I've read out a little earlier on today, and as I say, very keen to hear those. A caller says, as a parent of children, I know drugs are a serious issue in Inishowen at the moment. Kids are going out on a Thursday and not coming back to a Monday. In relation to my own children, taking them and the knock-on effect of my children taking them is having on our family. We're at breaking point at the minute. I've had to call the Gardaí on several occasions. I've pointed out the places where they can be gotten and nothing is being done about it. It's also the type of drugs they're taking and what those drugs are doing to them. As a parent, I do plead to others in the area, let's get together and try to do something about it. I also feel pubs, clubs and homes should show a greater leadership in trying to eradicate the issues. This is a parent. So you can imagine parents out there, if you're not dealing with this, you can imagine what it must be like. Their children, they know they're taking drugs. They're out of the house for quite some time and they can see the change in their children. If a child starts using drugs, 18, 19, 20, younger, the person that you know them of and everyone has their pros and their cons. We all have our flaws, but they change overnight into someone that you don't recognise. What can you do? How do you help them? I'm sure that's the situation this parent's in. And then you say, right, well, I'll turn to the Gardaí. I'll tell them where they're getting the drugs, because if they cut off the supply, maybe they can get back to themselves. But they feel nothing is being done about it. And also, with illegal drugs, you just simply don't know what's in them. You don't know when you're going to get a call. I mean, we've seen awful cases recently of people taking drugs that have been cut and spiked and had additives put into them. They're dangerous in and of themselves, but can prove deadly, of course. But this person feels a bit helpless, I think. As a parent, I do plead to others in the area, let's get together and try and do something about it. I think that's the way. I think it's going to be very difficult to do anything as an individual, but yeah. Right, let us see what this says here. Greg, there's another way to help those with suicidal tendencies and all addictions, i.e. alcohol, drugs, gambling, but you won't read it out because it's called God. I've had this one before and I read it out before. And getting to know him and his purpose for your life, and I'm not referring to any religious belief, I'm simply talking about God. Why would I not read that out? Again, it's literally the exact same text someone else sent out. People can get comfort in religion, whichever religion it is, whoever they wish to worship. Maybe it's mindfulness, maybe it's yoga. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind reading. There's no God or religion's not a dirty word. It certainly isn't on this programme and never will be. And some people, I am sure, do find a pathway through a faith. No doubt about that. And if it works, fantastic. But not all, unfortunately, suicides are linked to addiction or alcohol or drug abuse either. And that's off the back of a comment I made yesterday about us needing to do something. I know too many young people that are being lost to us through suicide. And yesterday I said I just wish there's something we could do. Charged €130 for a daughter to do the mock junior cert. Ridiculous. Can't understand it. As teachers in school correct them. Will you see? And this is another text that's similar to one we had before. There are some schools that sent out a bill to parents saying, look, we need 130 quid. I did see that letter. On that letter, it did seem to indicate that part of the cost was for outside markers. Now, I don't know why mock junior cert exams would be done by outside markers, but that is the charge. And the letter, which I have somewhere, read effectively that if you don't pay the money now, we're sending away we're ordering the papers or whatever, you'll miss out. How that would work, I don't know. I mean, I tell you, I'll put the call out here because I think this is an interesting way to get to the bottom of this. Did anyone's child miss out in the mocks because they didn't have the money? Now, I know that's not something necessarily people want to share, but in confidence, you message me privately on Facebook if you wish. Anyone who does know, they can do so in absolute confidence. But I mean, what happens if you didn't have the money? You know, and you're embarrassed into paying it to, you know, we have to have some level of free education. €130 is an awful lot of money. Like it's half an electricity bill. Okay, let's take a quick break.
Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. We match Aldi on the products you love, like Super Value Double Cream $1.49, Super Value Chocolate Hazelnut Swirl Spread $1.09. 2. Get thousands of special offers. And 3. Money off vouchers every week on the app. Super Value makes saving money as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Euronics to let you know about a great tumble dryer that will save you time and energy. The Blomberg 8kg dryer has a selection of sensor programs that allows you to decide exactly how dry you'd like your laundry, and smart technologies to help you reduce your energy costs. It also comes with an amazing 7-year parts and labour warranty. Call into us and see for yourself at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Clonid, in a lifetime, the Farewell Dublin Show. Live at 3 Arena, Saturday, February 18th. Tickets from €49 are on sale now. Maybe subject to fees. Presented by Singular Artists.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. From March 26th, Aer Lingus will operate a daily service to London Heathrow, providing onward connections to 80+ destinations worldwide. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okie doke, mostly dry today with light winds. There'll be sunny spells and the chance of an isolated shower. Temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees and mostly light to moderate, occasionally fresh west to southwest winds. Now, after a mostly clear start tonight, cloud will build from the west with patchy light rain or drizzle developing. Temperatures overnight, 2 or 3 degrees with light, moderate southwesterly winds. They will be occasionally fresh. Now, Rachel Morrow is Director of Advocacy with the Irish Cancer Society. Good morning, Rachel. Have I pronounced your second name correctly? I hope I do. I have.
You have, Greg. It's Morrow, like tomorrow.
I got it, man. I had Morrow. That's exactly what I said. Right, Rachel. Great to have you on the show. Now, we're talking about... can you tell us, is it an anomaly? Or how would you describe what the issue we're about to talk of with the insurance industry? I'll let you lay it out for us, Rachel, please.
Thanks, Greg, and it's really nice to be on Highland Radio this morning. So the issue that the Irish Cancer Society is highlighting and that we've been trying to progress through the Dáil and the Seanad is that people affected by cancer are being refused financial products, which includes insurance and mortgage protection because of their medical history. And you'll be aware that, thankfully now, due to advances in science and research, that for some people, cancer is quite treatable, and you can survive the disease now, which is really terrific.
And that's more and more of us as well. It's not a tiny small cohort, and as you say, thankfully, because of advances, this is affecting quite a lot of people.
It is. So now around 6 in 10 people who are diagnosed with cancer will live for 5 years or more. And because of that kind of new reality, we really need to make sure that the practices of the insurance and the banking industry are reflecting that, so that, you know, you're not penalised after your cancer diagnosis, after you've survived cancer, and that you don't have to pay increased penalties, or actually some people are being refused financial and banking products for years after their diagnosis. And I'm thinking particularly around survivors of childhood cancer or adolescent cancer, that they find when they reach adulthood that they actually are still, their cancer diagnosis is still following them around, and it might mean that they're not able to move on with their life, like buy a house.
It's a real emotional knockback too, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah. It really is. And this is what the Irish Cancer Society has heard through our research, and we published that in last year. And what it found was that people were really despondent. They were really down. Maybe these are people who have recently got married and have decided to buy a home, and they find that they can't do that. And really, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. And we've been looking across Europe and seen what's happened there. And many EU countries have actually put in place legislation, which means that if you have survived your cancer, and kind of a limit maybe of 5 or 10 years has been put in place, that they no longer need to declare that they are a cancer survivor, because it doesn't matter. But we know that in Ireland, the insurance industry has been lobbying against this legislation.
Well, that's it. And that is really important. So I really want listeners to hear this, because it's bad enough that if this is the situation, but there are moves afoot, as you can imagine, to try and change this. Now, is that the Insurance Ireland lobby group are actively lobbying to delay or deter this planned legislation. That is immoral, in my view. Sorry, I shan't put words in your mouth, Rachel.
Well, look, I think that, like, some of the words that they've used themselves around this being kind of a perception that, you know, cancer survivors are being refused cover. I know that any of your listeners, Greg, who have survived cancer and maybe have hit this issue themselves, know that it is anything but a perception. It's very much reality. And I heard you say there about kind of the people in Donegal who maybe weren't able to go through kind of the mocks because of financial reasons, then being reluctant to talk about their financial situation. That's the same in this case too. You know, people really don't want to talk about
suffering in silence, effectively.
Knockbacks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, also, there's another.
Totally understand that.
Yeah, there's another strand to this as well, because there are some politicians that recognise that this is a problem and are trying to go through the houses to get this addressed. That's been stalled or blocked. What's the background there? And I think we're talking off the back of Business Post reports there, if you're comfortable to do that.
Sure. So I'm glad to say that the significant majority of politicians agree with the Irish Cancer Society. This is an issue that needs to be legislated for. So a law or a bill was brought to the Seanad in November last year, and we were very, very disappointed that despite every senator speaking in favour of this piece of legislation, that it didn't move forward to the next stage, which is committee stage. And we believe, and this is, as you rightly say, Greg, was reported in the Business Post, we believe that that's because a cabinet decision was made to delay this bill indefinitely. So really what we want to see now is that, and thanks to you for highlighting this issue, but we really want that bill to be progressed. We really want it to move to committee stage. And that allows everybody, like every voice, to be heard. We don't really feel that the voice of cancer survivors has been heard by Cabinet, and we really, really want to put that front and centre, because, as you said, there's no reason why this legislation shouldn't move forward, because it's to the benefit of us all.
We should never give up hope, Rachel. We'll never keep up banging the drum. But it is exhausting, isn't it? The battles that have to be fought against the state, effectively. You know, be it charges in hospitals. Thankfully, there seems to be some progress in regards to that. But even this trying to counter lobbying from a collection of insurance companies for people to be treated equally. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, as to say, we'll never give up, but it's exhausting to have to battle for things like this, that in any normal civilised society, it would be shocking if they existed.
and to battle in, I suppose, in silence as well. You know, individuals don't have a strong voice when it comes to taking on a big industry like the insurance lobby groups, and it's why in the Cancer Society we're so grateful for the support that the people in Donegal give us, so that we're able to do work like this. And I know you've recently been speaking to Robert O'Connor, the chairman of the Donegal Relay for Life, and the recent announcement that Michelle O'Donnell is going to be the global hero for hope there. And we really couldn't do our work without your support. And it just gives people, like you said, that voice, you know, through the Irish Cancer Society, that we are advocating on people's behalf at a very, very vulnerable time.
And do you know what? It's really useful you make that connection as it relates to, you know, people supporting Relay for Life and what that does and then what can be done off the back of that, Rachel. You know, and you can't lie to an insurance company. You know, you have to be frank with them, because of course they will try everything to get out of any claim. So people are damned if they do and damned if they don't. What we need is the blocks to be taken off the progression of this legislation or conversation through the Dáil. And we and it's right to call out the lobbying when it exists. Rachel, listen, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it this Thursday morning. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, that's Rachel Morrow, Director of Advocacy with the Irish Cancer Society. Right, where are we at time-wise? We're almost at the end of the show, are we? That 3 hours really flew in. All right, I have about a minute. Okay, let us see what I can do in a minute and do it justice. I saw a lot of backlash online about Sam Smith's They Them music video, many claiming it was inappropriate and borderline pornographic. Why is it anyone outside of gender norms does something a conventionally attractive cis person does, it's branding as a scandal? Well, listen, people have been opining and having opinions about music all the time. I don't think really people can figure out why people are having a go at Sam Smith. For some, he goes a bit far with the presentation, nothing to do with his gender or identity, but people have been complaining about the content of music videos from all sorts for God knows. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. All right, that's where we have to leave it on the programme today. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, the Friday panel, talking about all the big stories of the week. Michael and Fionnuala are in as well. We'll be able to talk about something that's embargoed for another 3 minutes. I can't talk about it. I don't know what it is, but I think we've an awful lot of thanking to do for our listeners here in terms of the support for this programme and the amount of you are listening now compared to this time 3 months ago and this time last year. We're going through the stratosphere. It's really brilliant to have all of your support. But I don't know anything about that because it's embargoed till 12. So maybe John can talk about it. I don't know. I can't. All right. Have a lovely Thursday. Thanks to Donna Marie, who researched and produced the show. Chat to you at 9. Have a lovely one.